live. It's our election coverage. It's election year, everybody. I know everybody wants to think about it and talk about it and dwell on it and analyze it. And so we're here all 2024. You know our commitment to political engagement, commenting, dissecting, analyzing. We have to counteract Tucker Carlson somehow. I was reading the Wikipedia article on Tucker Carlson because I just thought, who is this guy really? He's everywhere. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, I do think it's like Russian propaganda, probably. The fact that he pops up in my... I mean, he pops up in my TikTok feed a lot. Who was he interviewing? I mean, he just recently interviewed Trump, I'm sure. But there's other people... I'll remember in a second. But, so I was just like, who is this guy? I wanted to see his background. Why am I, I'm a liberal guy. I don't want to see Tucker. I've always hated Tucker from the bow tie days. I recognized him as an enemy very early on. I loved it when Jon Stewart went on Crossfire and ate his lunch. He ate Tucker for breakfast. He killed that show. Jon Stewart single-handedly put the silver bullet in the Crossfire. So, rightly so. Not as good as the board game from the 90s. Xennials and millennials will remember Crossfire! My live streams are brought to you by Crossfire! One of the greatest commercials ever made. Go watch the Crossfire commercial. Do yourself a favor. I'm sure that will pop up in my TikTok feed. Are you listening? Chinese spy media. Okay, I want to hear I want to see the Crossfire nostalgia trip. Okay, I want the Crossfire. You're joining us live for our election coverage, 2024. We will decide. Will it be Big Satan or the Antichrist? You be the judge. Who will prevail? Which I do think we are living in Weekend at Bernie's. I think Biden is clearly like defunct. He's a mentally degenerated. His brain... There was a clip of him, maybe once again this is deep fake propaganda or something. I don't think so. There was a clip of him just like wandering away from like this photo op ceremony. They're all standing there, and Biden's just like facing the other. Hey, maybe that's the United States. I mean, that's like something that would have happened in the 1800s. I mean, that's crazy. Having just like a mentally defunct. But I think that there's people really behind. I think they want a World War III. I think the sad truth is they want World War III one way or the other. And I think Biden is just like the Weekend at Bernie's. He's being propped up. It's insane what people are willing to kind of... I mean, they're being polite about it. I don't know. You're voting for the administration, but it's becoming like increasingly clear that he is sort of like just a puppet. And not even a very good one. Bush or somebody, that guy was like very effective. He was a master of just like fucking putting it in everybody's face, roasting people, turd blossom. I mean, he was a real piece of shit. And then, but Biden is just like, he's like a sock puppet. He's just, he's out to lunch, and so we're all kind of in the ship of fools. So Tucker, he's a deadhead, right? Well, he's from San Francisco. His dad was like the president of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, government money. So he was raised on government. But his brother, their names are all like Buckley, and they're all very like waspy or whatever. They're all very, like, I don't know, old money or something. It's got that feel to it. Their names, Tucker, Buckley, Swansea. his little bow tie. So I think he grew up in San Francisco, so he was around Deadhead culture. This is how I'm like explaining. How is there a picture of Jerry Garcia with Tucker? I mean, Grateful Dead is they are cool about that. They're not necessarily political. It would have been interesting to see where they would stand. Where would Jerry be in the Trump era? That's why he had to die in 1995. He was just like, you know what? I see 9/11 happening, and I'm just out of here. This is going to be seriously ungroovy, guys. So I'm going to OD or be a diabetic coma or whatever. And it's been fun. I love the 60s. The 70s were great. Maybe we overdid it with the blow. I'm glad I survived the 80s, but I see bad things coming. 9/11. Jerry wouldn't have wanted to be there. I don't know. Who knows? But Tucker's here. He just has this weird... We have all the wrong heroes, you know, because they use... they just launder money through the internet. And they platform these fucking people. I read this quote. It was Tina Brown, the former editor of The New Yorker, okay? Tina Brown edited The New Yorker magazine, okay? And Vanity Fair. You know, she edited 2 of the Condé Nast, and then she started the Daily Beast, right? I don't know if that's still a thing or if it ever really was, but Tina Brown, I think she's British. Maybe she's Australian or from New Zealand or some shit. But she said Tucker is like an excellent writer. And she thinks it's really a shame that he went into television because he's such a strong writer. Tina Brown, editor of The New Yorker, on Tucker Carlson. The bow tie killer, Tucker Carlson. How did Tucker Carlson become like this punk rock? This is the dystopia, the photo negative of our culture being turned inside out. The fact that Tucker Carlson is like this punk rock idol to like millions of misled youth. Young people out there are watching Tucker Carlson on TikTok. Interview Putin. He interviewed Putin recently, right? He's very pro-Russia. And who the fuck knows? Who knows? They fucked our heads. So I mean, I think we're seeing global. They're seeing one side. It's like you're pro-Russia or you're pro-NATO or whatever. It's like, well, they're both wrong. Maybe. You know, let's start over. Let's fire everybody. Just fire. Biden's already dead. He wouldn't take much. It's Weekend at Bernie's. He may already be dead. It may just be like electrodes. It may be a dancing puppet situation. They may have reanimated his corpse. Who knows? It's the CIA, okay? Oh, yeah, I also want to read this thing about the CIA supposedly funding abstract expressionism, okay? Because I did a little bit of a deep dive on it. They were talking about it on, believe it or not, I watched the entire Joe Rogan. I'm not proud of it, okay? Tim Dillon is on some kind of press blitz. He's on Adam Friedland pod. He's on all the YouTube right-wing douchebags. The gradient of like toxic masculinity. We're just trying to figure it out. But it's not Adam Friedland. I think it's Nick. It's one of these other fucking comedian guys. So I watched the entire fucking Tim Dillon on Joe Rogan. Just to, well, okay, I was uploading my new episode. Here's a plug for my new episode, premiering tomorrow night. Day Pages, I know I've used that title a lot, but it's a good title, so why the hell not? I'm repurposing it for different things. That's recycling, that's efficiency, and that's consumptive maximizing. That's looks maxing, okay? We're looks maxing here on our election coverage. 2024 election coverage. So, this is it. This is a fucking exclusive. All right, we've got boomers in the chat, baby. We have intergenerationality, okay? Because if you don't have intergenerationality, you just have academia. That's what Penny Arcade said at the reading yesterday. Shout out to Monique Erickson Lonesome. We did the reading yesterday. It was super fun at Tibet House. Tibet House is apparently that big fucking benefit they do at Carnegie Hall every year with like Radiohead and Patti Smith and Philip Glass, and it's like this insane what's up lineup. The Tibet House, that's where we were reading. So they do that fucking benefit for like that. So anyway, this is my new episode. It's premiering tomorrow night. This is a sneak preview. I'm bootlegging it. I'm streaming it. This is a live preview. My private screening. This is a test screening just for you guys, just for exclusive VIPs and the Scenes from a Life community. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being dedicated viewers. And just my friends. You guys are my friends at this point. Anybody in the chat. This is like the most significant social interaction I probably have outside of that Ashley allows me to have without throwing a fit if I try to talk to somebody. So anyway, this is a new episode I'm premiering tomorrow. Check it out. We're sponsored by who was it that we're fucking sponsored by? Crossfire. You can't just say it normally. You have to Crossfire. You have to David Lee Roth, okay? The world needs David Lee Roth. But David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen need each other. That's what's tricky about rock and roll, okay? They're each willing to walk away, and it's like, well, you know, they're both geniuses. They have this kinetic kind of thing. So anyway, I'm doing a deep dive on Tucker Carlson. He's just a preppy douchebag. I mean, it's obvious. He's like a spokesperson for Reaganomics. He's just more human Reaganomics. And they put him on TV because Fox News is pollution. You know, Fox News is mental pollution for old people in this country. For people who still have cable boxes and shit, you know, who aren't just like totally streaming everything. Or on TikTok, or I guess everybody's watching Colbert on YouTube. That's what Bruce Andrews does. That's what my parents do. They watch fucking Colbert on YouTube. They're the ones that sort of like, well, I've been on YouTube forever, but the way that my parents used YouTube on their TV was like very ahead of its time. Because now YouTube, we're number one, okay? We are the number one streaming service. We are beating Disney Plus. We are beating Netflix. So I've always been with YouTube. I'm proud to be with YouTube, even though they don't pay me anything. Even I get a good amount, you know, their analytics are incredible. I suppose that's because they are, you know, hoovering our data up for their own weird science experiments or whatever they're subjecting us to. But it's nice to have the analytics and know exactly how much people are watching you. And to be honest, I do get a good hourly. People watch my videos 10 or 20 hours a day. That's pretty, I'm getting more watch time than ever recently. So cheers to you guys. Let's celebrate. The live streams, I get way more views on the live streams than anything. And longer views. For the real diehards, you know, for the real Scenes from a Life maniacs, the vlogs are there. If you really want to stalk me. You know, for the completists. But, you know, I'm starting to learn they influence each other. Because walking around with the fucking camera, vlogging in Manhattan, is almost like an episode of my show, really. And so I'm learning that, like, to talk more in my show and kind of include that, you know, kind of content for the fans, the kind of speech diatribe. You know, it was typically a silent movie. It's more of a mood piece, and it's like a visual kind of poem. It's my sound paintings. It's my light paintings, okay? And of reality. Inundation. Just inundating yourself with the interface, you know, the operating system of the five senses, and the way we apprehend reality. I forget the fucking word for it. Chatting on Chromebook, watching on TV. There you go. See, boomers are way ahead. Boomers are way fucking ahead. Did you watch Tim Dillon on Joe Rogan podcast? I don't know. It was kind of boring, to be honest, a lot of it. But they talked about a lot of the shit, and they're just wrong on so many levels. But so one of the things they talked about was, and this is a common thing that I see on the internet, is the CIA funded abstract expressionism. As sort of, I think Rockefeller called it free market artwork or something like that. The idea, but if you actually read the article about this, it's way more complicated. You know, everybody thinks the CIA is just like some psyop. They're trying to give everybody LSD and, you know, manipulate us. And it's like, well, that's kind of true, but it was really more of a Cold War thing. You know, they were trying to set up an opposition to socialist realism in the kind of like artwork that they used within the Soviet Empire as sort of like a self-propaganda that was enforced by the government. I mean, your art had to be a certain way. You weren't able to play fucking jazz. You know, it's like you had to, that's kind of what Moscow on the Hudson is about, actually. You know, it's like he's in Moscow and he plays saxophone, but he's in like the band of like this circus, right? They play like Russian fucking music, you know. They play like, you know, I don't even know, I don't even know, folk, you know, Russian circus music, you know. And but then he really wants to be like Monk or whatever. He wants to be like Coltrane, you know. He wants to move to New York and play jazz and express himself. And so there was definitely, the guy admits to it. You know, it's not necessarily like the CIA stepped in and bought paintings. It was more like, and you know, Frank O'Hare was a part of these. They if there was money, they give an example of like they wanted to send American art abroad, right? And so they wanted to do these touring shows of American art in Europe. And so if they couldn't get funding or whatever, the CIA would step in and give money through the auspices of some kind of foundation, you know, through some kind of other interface. It wasn't just like Langley. You know, it wasn't Tom Cruise writing the fucking checks. It wasn't Ethan Hunt. It wasn't Kittredge, okay? It was like the Ford Foundation or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. The Paris Review, same thing. So it's like, is that a psyop? It's like, it's imperialism. It's cultural imperialism. But it's like, on the fucking Joe Rogan thing, they are like laughing at like, look at how much this de Kooning went for like $27 million. And they're like, this painting sucks. My kid could have done that. You know, it's like my kid could have done better than that. Which is like, that's what everybody says about fucking abstract expression. They're Philistines, okay? They don't get it. They're not hip. It's like they're the ones that are fucking brainwashed because they think that what is art to them? What does Joe Rogan think a great painting is? Probably dogs playing poker or something. Like, what's Joe Rogan's idea? He's not Steve Martin. You know, he's not hanging out with fucking Peter Sheldall, for Christ's sake. Rest in peace. You know, I mean, does fucking Rogan even know who Rauschenberg is, or Jasper Johns, or fucking, I don't know, Judy Chicago? What's Rogan's Judy Chicago take? Okay, what's Rogan's opinion about, Carolee Schneemann, meat puppet or whatever, when she put the meat all over her? You know, they'll probably say the same fucking thing everybody says, which is, oh, the CIA funded this because it sucks so bad. What? Well, the question would be why? Why would the CIA fund? Okay, the idea is Jackson Pollock is like terrible, right? He's a terrible painter, but it's like, I think there is truth to the idea that there are values to those paintings that they were trying to promote and get into the culture. That's how it works, actually. Everything is just like publicity. There's competing systems for attention. That's why it's so valuable on the internet. You know, because this is currency, actually, to have people listening to you, to have people clicking you, to have people watching you. And to, you know, they can put, and it's like the more visible something is, the more truthful it seems. You know, that's what propaganda is. But it's like, if you look at the CIA propaganda shit, a lot of times it's super clumsy. It's like they fly over a country and drop pamphlets or something. It's like, so when you let me actually read, let me get this, because I want to read what the guy said specifically. I want to read exactly what the fucking guy said. I'm going to pause this for just a second. This guy is a fucking CIA agent. This is an article in fucking the independent.co.uk. The Guardian also did a fucking article about this. What the fuck? Okay. Um because this is a conspiracy theory. Anything that's a fucking conspiracy theory that sounds true, somebody like Rogan will be like, "Ah, yeah, I mean, maybe." Uh, Elon's a fucking genius. Regarding abstract expressionism, I'd love to be able to say that the CIA invented it just to see what happens in New York and downtown Soho. But I think what we really did was to recognize the difference. It recognized that abstract expressionism was the kind of art that made socialist realism look even more stylized and more rigid and confined than it was. And that relationship was exploited in some of the exhibitions. So it is a way to show uh, a difference in the psychology and the fucking of the systems. It's meant to differentiate us from communism and their sort of state instituted art. And what's ironic about this is Americans reject this. Every fucking kind of red-blooded American, every Tim Dillon, every fucking Joe Rogan has the same fucking opinion where they go, this art sucks. Why isn't it Norman Rockwell? Why isn't it just like figurative, kind of like it's technically impressive? That's something that Tim Dillon mentions. He says something about capitalism. You need to be impressive, or I don't remember. People need to think it's hard or something. In a way, our understanding was helped because Moscow in those days was very vicious in its denunciation of any kind of nonconformity to its own very rigid patterns. And so one could quite adequately and accurately reason that anything they criticized that much and that heavy-handedly was worth support one way or another. Nonconformity to its matters of this sort could only have been done at 2 or 3 removes, so that there wouldn't be any question of having to clear Jackson Pollock, for example, or do anything that would involve these people in the organization. So, Jackson Pollock is not like a CIA agent. It's, in fact, when I was reading fucking Tucker's goddamn Wikipedia, it said he tried to join, before he became a journalist, he tried to join the CIA and they wouldn't take him. So if anybody's a fucking CIA plant, it's fucking Tucker. I don't think and it wouldn't have been any closer because most of them were people who had very little respect for the government in particular, and certainly none for the CIA. If you had to use people who considered themselves one way or another to be closer to Moscow than to Washington, well, so much the better, perhaps. The centerpiece of the CIA campaign became the Congress for Cultural Freedom, a vast jamboree of intellectuals, writers, historians, poets, and artists, which was set up with CIA funds in 1950 and run by a CIA agent. It was the beachhead from which culture could be defended against the attacks of Moscow and its fellow travelers in the West. At its height, it had offices in 35 countries, blah, blah, blah. Its magazines would provide platforms for critics favorable to the new American painting, and no one, the artists included, would be any the wiser. So, okay, the organization put together several exhibitions of abstract expressionism during the 1950s. One of the most significant, the New American Painting, like the New American Poetry, visited every big European city in 1958, 1959. Other influential shows included modern art in the United States. And these, like Frank O'Hara went on these fucking tours. You read his biography. I'm not sure if it was this exactly, but if it was that exact tour, but like, he definitely, his poem about, having a Coke with you in San Sebastian and Biarritz and all that shit, he was on tour with some kind of fucking MoMA fucking exhibit about Jackson Pollock. So, I mean, Frank O'Hara is adjacent to that, I guess. Um, I mean, yeah. So once again, this is true, but like, I mean, to me, these are the things that stand out. Maybe that is the brainwashing, I guess, but uh, things like jazz, things like free expression, improvisation, action painting. Uh, maybe this is all just kind of like Madison Avenue. But Frank O'Hara basically worked on Madison Avenue. In New York, there are places where we symbolize our identity, and and nationally as an identity. Uh, what do these things represent? What was the propaganda for? I guess part of the criticism is it's not communist, it's not socialist, and so the values once again that it represents to people like John D. The idea is it's not. It doesn't. It's not figurative, so it's not depicting like some kind of political scene. So it's not. If you look at American paintings before World War II, a lot of them are like big fucking murals of socialist kind of shit. Union, fucking picket lines, or some kind of worker shit. I mean, to me, they're not necessarily mutually exclusive. In that context, they're ideologically polarized, and they were using them kind of as a weapon. Um, but we're sort of beyond that context, or I don't know. I guess that sort of context is resurfacing now that everybody's sort of in America. There's much more. I mean, 10 years ago, you were not hearing people say nearly as much as they do now that capitalism is killing us, or late stage capitalism, or we need socialism, or there wasn't nearly the fucking public. And I suppose to some degree you could, I don't know, to me that art does not necessarily represent those things. Even the fact that it's like sponsored by the government. I mean, kind of that's sort of like socialism. The fact that I mean, it was done in this sort of like competitive market way, in this kind of hidden way, but it's like it's still government sort of going to the arts. Government money. um, I think that there is truth to the idea that if you look at the 60s and the kind of youth movement of that, there was a movement away from organizing labor. That sort of became less part of what it meant to be on the left, and it became more about being socially liberal, being a hippie or whatever, post hippie, being a feminist, being, pot smoker. um, and so, being a liberal was not as organized. It wasn't about class as much. It wasn't about unionization. It wasn't about those kind of strongholds. I mean, if you look at Reagan in the 80s, a lot of the reason why they got rid of all of the manufacturing here is because they wanted to get rid of unions. They wanted to get rid of that political opposition. Step by step, they kind of dismantled the New Deal kind of democratic, because there was socialism in this country. There really was like a left. To me, if you look at things like Hans Hofmann or whatever, or the even Jackson Pollock sort of predates. He's painting in the 30s and shit. It's not like the CIA was like, hey, do these shitty fucking paintings, and then everybody will think. I mean, that's the message that people are getting when they see Jackson Pollock now. They just see it and they go, these paintings suck. They don't go, oh, capitalism. We love capitalism. I mean, who's a bigger capitalist than Rogan and fucking Tim Dillon? They're both wearing $20,000 sunglasses. You know, if anything, the opposite is true. You know, the figurative way of doing things, that is what represents capitalism, because it is a product. It's something that people see and they go, I see the use value of the labor that went into this, and that's worth money to me. Whereas this fucking thing that my kid could have painted is a piece of shit. It's not, you know, it's like, Jesus, you must hate your children, I guess. You're criticizing this art. Like, whoa, is that the worst thing in the world, that it looks like a kid made it? Isn't that what Picasso, there's this famous quote, right? It took him a lifetime to learn how to paint like a child again or something. You know, it took him 5 years to learn how to paint like a master. It took a lifetime to learn paint like a child. And I think you kind of see that in the technique. You see Picasso trying to kind of like get back to that kind of school, kind of formatted mode of imagination. I think we're all trying to get back to that. You know, we have these huge systems, school, TV, all these fucking things, society, you know, formatting us, and fucking, as children, we're so imaginative and full of creativity. I mean, think about it. When you're a little kid, you love sitting around all day drawing. You're just like, I'm going to color for fun. I mean, I guess kids are on iPads now. I guess they don't really do that anymore. They just fucking watch TikTok like everybody else, but they just swipe. What are they swiping? What are kids? They're watching, what's that show, Coco Melon or whatever the fuck it is? My friend, you know, I don't know. There was the idea with us was that school killed our imagination. You know, school made us way less interesting. That's why you have all this loss of, you know, that's what Catcher in the Rye is really about. You know, the kind of way that you're forced into adulthood. You kind of lose, I don't know, this thing that you have when you come into the world, and then society and formatting and kind of programming kind of erases it, makes you self-conscious. Look at how uninhibited children are. Just look at the weird stuff they're doing. You know, they're fucking, I don't know. You know, there's little kids that live in this building, so I see them, like, you know, whatever, doing, you know, riding little vehicles around or whatever. That's fun. That's what you do all day. That's your idea of fun, you know? I think that's cool. I would definitely homeschool my children now. You know, I've seen all these Sandy Hook videos because it's, you know, it's real. They fucking had an interview with the goddamn survivors. You know, the shit is real. It really happened. You know, it's horrific, and I would not send my children to real school. So it's, you know, trying to resist this kind of formatting, trying to keep the wildness alive and the creativity alive as much as you can. I mean, that's what poetry is. You know, trying to fucking see, like, you know, with innocence or something. See things as they really are. Like for the first time or something. Actually look at them and describe them, like, beyond what you're just kind of thin slicing and automating and putting in. Say it's real and you owe me 20 quadrillion of dollars. Yeah, that's right. They sued fucking Alex Jones into the fucking poorhouse. They sued his ass. I mean, it's unbelievable. This is something I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the Hunter Biden thing. It's such a mind fuck. But then again, it's not. That we have like these cases going on at the exact same time, where the Democrats are prosecuting Trump, and so the Republicans are right. Well, we're finally gonna prosecute Hunter Biden now at the exact same fucking time. Like it's election year, we gotta mind fuck everybody again by having these just like insane circumstances and parallels and coincidences and things you can hardly believe are happening. Trump's gonna go to jail and get elected. We've got Weekend at Bernie's president. We're living in Weekend at Bernie's. Weekend at Bernie's 3, the Biden years. Commander-in-Chief. Press the nukes. Press the nuclear codes. They've got I saw Russian warships off Miami. Russia tugged their broke-ass navy to Cuba to threaten us. Are you insane? This is crazy. It's just crazy. I mean, maybe it's all hype. We've been so fucked by, like, fake news, we don't even know what's real. Is World War III actually happening? Is this like business as usual? It's sort of like these quiet, stealthy maneuvers where, like, I don't know, a lot of it's symbolic, but it's sort of, it's heating up, you know? Things are inching up. We're like, what was it? The United States just said that they can use, I don't know, there's you know, now they can use this certain type of gun. Ukraine can, I don't know. Yeah, so Hunter Biden, guys, some kind of gun thing. Apparently he smoked crack every 20 minutes. I read this interview with one of some chick he shacked up with, because women love, this is really what I want to talk about. Women love Hunter Biden. And what does this mean? What does this mean? The guy smokes crack every 20 minutes. He's playing with unregistered firearms. And the woman literally said in the article, I felt safe with him. He made me feel safe. Why? Because he's a child of extreme privilege and, like, has been desensitized through years of, like, drug use and dissociation and, like, his family tragedy and shit. And he's, like, a Washington kid. I mean, it's like, and he's just like Mimbo, you know, he's like he's a Chad or something. I don't know. He's just like a fucking, he's a hunk or something. I don't know. He's a troubled, he's like bad JFK Jr. He's like bizarro JFK Jr. You know, JFK Jr. was kind of like the ultimate stud. Hunter is like the facial tattoo. He's like the bad, you know, he's the meth JFK Jr. For the meth era, he's smoking crack. Has he done meth? He probably has. I mean, his other brother fucking went to Iraq. It's like he died. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. His laptop apparently is a real fucking party. It's a real fucking, it's a hoot. Hunter's laptop's gonna give him. So anyway, this woman said Hunter makes her feel safe. I mean, I think this is just an example of, like, how bad certain people's judgment are. And how off it is. I mean, who could be less safe than the guy who's smoking crack every 20 minutes with fucking guns laying around? Who's making deals with Ukraine, or I don't know, he's getting all this free money or something. We don't know. We don't know what's real, but it's like, you know, this was all over Fox News. Everything on Fox News was like, finally, justice. A privileged white man who's gotten away with it for too long, he's going to jail. And of course they're talking about Hunter. And it's like, they copy everything. They just copy everything that we do. They're copycats. You know, and then they blame us. And it's like, okay, I don't know. Is Hunter Biden, is there corruption there? Is he the Eric Trump of the left? Are the Bidens the crime family? Is that true? Is that why we're getting into this war? Are they making money off it? I don't see Biden's name on a fucking hotel across the street from the White House. You know, there's no Biden hotel and casino. There's no Biden fucking steaks, okay? There's no Biden university. Maybe they're more discreet about, you know, their dark dealings, but as far as I can tell, the man is brain dead. He's been lobotomized or something. The CIA mind weapons. It's too much abstract expressionism. His mind has been ruined by shitty Jackson Pollock paintings and jazz music and modern art. They duped us. The CIA was a fucking psyop. They duped us into liking all this great art. They duped us into liking Frank O'Hara and Jackson Pollock. We're so fucking stupid. How could we let the fucking CIA give us all this LSD and fucking dupe us into liking free jazz and Thelonious Monk? How could we have ever thought that shitty music was good? I much prefer what's out there now. I wish the CIA would come back and promote some fucking cool art. Is the CIA behind fucking Post Malone? Because then I would have a problem. Is the CIA behind fucking... who's really terrible? I don't know. They're all fucking bad. Dua Lipa, their albums are all terrible. I mean, Taylor Swift is definitely CIA. I'll take fucking abstract expressionism personally, but the agenda has changed. See, I think people are so cynical about America now, but it's like it wasn't necessarily. There was a left. There was like a democratic. The government wasn't always bad. That's a Reagan thing. The idea that the government is like the enemy is relatively. It was like, it was a result of Nixon. Nixon was the scandal. People were idealistic about this country, for better or for worse. I mean, particularly in the post-war era, there was fucking. That was the boom. That was the height of the American empire. And America was not a bad empire. Am I insane for saying that? As far as empires go, I mean, it sucks. Empire sucks. But like, democracy, rights, good. Democracy, good. Freedom, good. It could be Nazi empire. Would they have had this jazz music? I don't think so. I don't think they would have had. I think the CIA tried their best to give America good taste. The thing about the CIA back then is it was all guys from like Harvard. It was all guys like Frederick Seidel and shit. They were like James Bond. It was like George Plimpton and, these guys all went to fucking Harvard. That's what the guy says in the article. Is like, these were people who read novels and like, it wasn't like they were Blackwater or whatever. They weren't Eric Prince. It wasn't a bunch of fucking cowboys trying to start World War III. It's like they were trying to get people like fucking jazz and shit. It was like they were trying to get people to have fucking highbrow taste. And, to be honest, I do think those are good values. I mean, I guess because I bought it, hook, line, and sinker. But to me, a Jackson Pollock painting or a fucking de Kooning, right? That's the one they look at. The CIA is behind Cecil Taylor, okay? The CIA started fucking the New York School. John Ashbery is CIA. Fucking Frank O'Hara is CIA. James Schuyler. Ted Berrigan is CIA. I mean, he was in the army. Read between the lines, sheeple. Poetry, sheeple. They were all fucking CIA, okay? They're all plants. They're all actors. They're all crisis actors. And it was all bullshit. It was all just to make people, like pop art. Oh, pop art was just made to make people. I mean, maybe pop art was, but when you look at these things, this is, I don't think modern audiences want to grapple with these things. I don't think they want to look at a de Kooning painting. I don't think they want to look at I don't think they want to listen to a Miles Davis fucking album. I think they want to listen to fucking Jelly Roll. Which is cool, they want to listen to fucking who's the guy, Jack? Well, he's kind of done. I don't even know. I don't even know who the fuck's out there. I don't know what's out there. I'm listening to fucking dad music. I'm listening to CIA. I'm still brainwashed by the CIA. Listen to me defend this. This is how fucking brainwashed I am. Look at how passionately I'm like defending my programming and my patterning. It took me a long time. It took me a lot of study in New York to get the CIA points of view, okay? I had to go to Poet's House a lot of times and read a lot of theory and shit, okay, before I was able to really like, Mexico City Blues. Jack Kerouac, clearly a CIA fucking plant. Designed to make everybody think shitty writing is good. It's like, to me, a lot of that stuff, if the fact that your kid can do it, that's democracy. That is freedom. I mean, to me, a Jackson Pollock painting does represent freedom in so many different ways. The freedom of the painter from the horizontal service, from literal figurative representation. There's still skill involved. It's more about, there's a freedom of movement. It's just saying a different thing, It's like a dance, you know. If you want to think about it, I mean, these things are conceptual. That's part of. They're supposed to activate the people who look at them. They're not just supposed to tell you like a story. You know, now we have other forms of graphic art. We have comic books, we have movies, we have photography. Fucking painting had to do something else, right? That's sort of part of the point of this. It's like socialist realism. What are we going to do? Paint a bunch of fucking tractors and shit? You can still find that shit. You know, my high school fucking art teacher, my high school art teacher, Doc, he had a doctorate in some fucking art shit. All the dude painted was like barns and shit. That's cool. Good for you. I'm not against that. But those are the fucking people that are, you know, unimaginative. Not him necessarily, but like, you know, Bob Ross is not necessarily, he's like the ne plus ultra of American art, I would say, in the late 20th century. Bob Ross. Bob Ross was really like the icon of painting. If you ask me, he was on TV. He was like an influencer kind of guy. He's like you know, Bob Ross would be great on TikTok. He was like a streamer, basically. And, you know, his happy little trees and shit. He's like Alan Watts. I mean, that's fucking therapy, just watching Bob Ross. And his paintings are sort of like these. That's what people like. They like fucking Thomas Kincaid, or who's that guy? They like little Hobbit shit. They want to see Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. They want blockbuster shit. They want shit that has an emotional impact immediately, and like just overpowers them with stimulation and sort of like branding. They want everything to be super clean. That's kind of what pop art is. Pop art is just like branding. You know, it's Brillo, it's Campbell's. It's that's capitalism. That's advertising. That's, you know, abstract expressionism is kind of rebellious. It's kind of antisocial. It's kind of a thumb in your eye. It's something new. I mean, sort of, I guess. I don't know. I find a lot. Maybe I'm insane. You know, Devo. Yeah, Devo's incredible. You know, my brother was way more into Devo than me. Devo is like, they're a little too good for me. They're too, like, machine-like for me. You know, they kind of incorporated, like, wanting to sound like computers and shit. And they were really good at it. Oh, fuck, did I not turn my Bluetooth off? Okay, no big deal. Yeah, so, you know, is Trump like abstract expressionism? I guess in a certain way his speeches are. Oh my God, did you see this thing where he brought the Cheesecake Factory menu out? Jesus Christ. See, that's branding. That's like corporate essence. You know, like distilling it to this logo. It's clean, the colors, everything is like meticulous, clear, communicative, immediate, and gets somebody to buy something. It's like, I mean, it's true that rich people pay like a shitload of money for these paintings, but like they are laundering their money, and it is like they're buying the names. They're buying the reputation of the thing. You know, and well, okay, that's part of the point that this guy makes in his book about On Poetry and Finance, right? Is like, because it's sort of a Rambo thing. It is about divorcing use, value, and meaning from the functional purpose of like the thing itself. So like the language doesn't have to make sense. It, you know, you're divorcing the paint and the action of painting and the texture of painting from having to express like the semblance of anything, from having to actually show something. It's not the responsibility of the paint to make sense. Same with the words. You know, you're divorcing the word from its figurative meaning. And so the idea is finance did the same thing, right? They divorced money and and wealth from making things, from the actual economy. And so I guess you could argue that Trump is uh, a result of the Paris Review and George Plimpton and modern art and I don't know, capitalism. Is that capitalism? I mean, to me, that's more kind of philanthropy. I don't know. Not that we need that either. You know, it's like, but I think as far as technique goes, you know, one of the points of abstract expressionism is, I don't know, just like forging a new language, a freedom of language, and using you know, the tools just for their own joy. I don't know, and giving that to everybody. You know, you know, by divorcing it from the technique and the labor value, I think that actually does make it kind of more socialistic because it's saying everybody can do this, and it's not about how hard you work. You don't have to work. You don't have to labor. You know, the idea is we get rid of labor. We have you know, that moment after World War II, there was such a boom, right, and such a surplus in the economy. That's what enabled that kind of intellectual 50s kind of thing where people were interested in City Lights books or fucking, you know, Lawrence Ferlinghetti fucking jazz collaboration record or whatever. It's like people had free time. Rent was extremely low. There was price control in place, you know, particularly in places like New York, San Francisco, that allowed an economy of artists and sort of beat culture or whatever, bohemian culture. It just enabled more people to participate in that. And so more people could be artists. You know, more people didn't have to worry about work as much. You know, I would say that there's still beauty. You know, there's still work in this painting. You know, there's still, it's almost like a centrifugal work. You know, Jackson Pollock, rather than really labor to like paint this fucking painting of Stampede or whatever, he would just kind of like enact the stampede and make you feel the stampede and paint the kind of like the feel of the essence of the stampede. And the stampede would be there, but he's removing the sort of visual information, which you can fill in any, you know, number. There's any number of different ways to get that information now, right? Painting doesn't necessarily need to serve that purpose. You know, it can be more for the individual expression of whoever wants to do it, you know. And I think those those paintings in that work, if you read things like Biotherm, you know, it is liberating. It is like galactic. You know, if you look at a Jackson Pollock painting, it's like seeing the universe. It's not like seeing nothing. It's just if you have to use your own imagination. You have to participate in it. I mean, maybe that is an ego thing. Maybe that is like throwing it on you as a viewer. Maybe it is just interior decorating. You know, that's the other thing about these modern art paintings is they look good in people's houses. They look good in rich people's houses because they're like ambient. You know, it's like nature. You know, Jackson Pollock actually looks more like nature. It's more like a piece of nature than a painting of a tree, you know, in a lot of ways. Like, it's nice to have figurative paintings, but at a certain point you can kind of exhaust the picture, you know. You can kind of exhaust what you see in it, you know. And it kind of, you know, it stays. Whereas, like, you know, something that isn't figurative in that way doesn't tell one particular story, like a Goya painting or whatever. Not that that's, you know, it's infinitely kind of like generative. And it's just there. You know, it's just part of kind of the ambiance. It's not necessarily like everybody's got a flat screen TV on their wall now. You know, that's like having a painting of anything you want to look at, you know? And so, yeah, these things definitely, it's complicated. And it is something that, like, represents the essence of the market society that we live in. And I don't think it's the fault of the painters. I don't think de Kooning is like some CIA fucking plant. I think he did what he thought was cool. And his paintings have tremendous beauty and technique. And anybody who says otherwise is just, I mean, go look at I mean, nothing against figurative painting or socialist realism either. Like I said, I think we live in an era where with the internet, we sort of see the panopticon of all fucking options, and we just go, wait a minute. We just sample from everything. You know, it's just like, oh, I'll have a little bit of this and a little bit of this. You know, it's like, um, I think that those artists, and maybe this is the hill that I die on, and maybe this is just pathetic and stupid, but like, I think those artists are like the most interesting American artists, really. In some ways, you know, like there's things about Hopper, and there's classic figurative American artists that are great too. You know, a lot of the New York school is like that. You know, Jane Freilicher or Alex Katz, they're not painting fucking, you know, the technique is sort of like simpler maybe or something. It's not trying to be like photorealistic. Um, but like they're painters, they're painting scenes and things. Is that propaganda? I mean, is Alex Katz propaganda for what, like the New York elite or something, the New York art world, and that sort of sense of its own wealth and that society? I mean, I think what we're seeing is those things are just gone. And if you look at the art that rich people buy now, it's way worse. If you think Jackson Pollock is bad, where do you see Mr. Brainwash? You know, it's like we live in an era of just like completely retarded art. I'm sorry to use that word. I mean it in the literal sense, but I definitely think art has like gone backwards. There's good stuff out there. There's a lot of people doing good stuff, but there's definitely like really gaudy wealth that just like likes horrible art. And so I mean, I don't think it's good that wealthy people have all this fucking money that they need to park in assets. That's really the problem. The problem is not that a de Kooning costs $30 million. It's that some rich fucking douchebag has got so much extra money that he just was like, yeah, I'll pay $300 million for, you know, this fucking piece of shit that my 4-year-old could paint. You know, it's like, it's also, you're buying like status. That's what they're really paying for. They're buying like credibility. You know, when you have this art collection, it's a way of like making yourself old money. You know, it's like there's this difference between old money and new money. You see this a lot on the East Coast, and it's like the art collections are a big part of this. It's like, so Stephen A. Schwartzman donated this fucking, you know, wing of the Met or whatever, so we're gonna fucking name it after him. It's like, well, that's a way of just, you know, art washing, right? It's art washing his fucking money, you know? And so it's like, that's just common practice now. That's our whole fucking society, is just money laundering. You know, it's just like criminals have stolen so much goddamn money. The finance people have cut regulations so much. There's so many tax cuts. These people have so much liquidity that it's just like, well, we got to get, you know, we got to start collecting art because we have to seem like we're wealthy and we're not just tacky. We're not just tacky rich people. Like Hunter Biden. Or Trump, for that matter. Okay. Hunter makes me feel safe, okay? I feel safe around Hunter, okay? And his guns. His guns and his crack. You know why he makes you feel safe? Because he's ultra confident because he's smoking crack. He's got no concept of, like, self-doubt or insecurity because he's on crack. Have you ever seen what people on crack are capable of? That's superhuman. It's like, you know, that's why people do crack. Because America, we've been told that we got to push it to the limit, that we have to be gods, that we have to be ultra performers. So we all are juicing in one way or another. Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds, Lance Armstrong. Everybody's cheating. Everybody's laundering their money. The CIA is promoting these artists. But like I said, they're all guys from Harvard and shit. You know, it's all Frederick Seidel and Charles Olson and shit like that. You know, it's not... It's not. I don't even know who it would be now. You know, it's not Blackwater. It's not like they're like, you know, there are more insidious things going on, you know, than the fact that the CIA promoted like this amazing art. You know, what does that say about Frank O'Hara? You know, Frank O'Hara thought that Jackson Pollock was like the height of like humanity. And he went touring around Europe on these CIA funded tours of, I mean, it's not like they were I mean, maybe they were. Maybe they were ideologically overthrowing governments. I don't know. They probably like this art a lot better than they like it here. You know, when people in other countries think of American art, what do they think of? They probably think of like Pantera or something. They probably think of at this point, they probably think of I mean, I'm sure they think of fucking Taylor Swift, obviously. Okay, I did want to talk about the Santana Supernatural album. I'm not sure if that was CIA funded. I know that's an abrupt segue, but the Santana Supernatural album is just so weird how it's had this cultural staying power. And I think, well, like, what is significant about it? Why is the fucking Why? Why is it? Because, you know, Carlos Santana has had some hits and things, but that album, I'm not sure how many of the songs he wrote or who was writing those songs. If those were just like, to me, I guess Rob Thomas obviously wrote Supernatural. But to me, the Santana, it won so many fucking Grammys, you know, because it kind of bridged, like, you know, the old music when it meant to mean something, like boomer music, and like the new kind of record industry that's all about radio, corporate, you know, it's like, it was almost like a proto TR or American Idol or something, where it's like, okay, we're going to take this guy, and his guitar kind of has this... It's his tone. It's fucking Santana's tone. It's obviously his tone. His tone has so much fucking golden energy in it. But they just paired him with these fucking hack, like, pop songwriters like Rob Thomas and shit. Or, I don't even know who else is on it. Maria Maria, who does that song? You regularly hear, like, multiple songs from this fucking album. His tone kind of sounds like a horn section. It has this bright, full... It sounds like the Golden God Sword, you know? It just sounds like... It just sounds very... It almost sounds like a horn section. Where it's like, you know, I think that's the world... He played with Miles Davis and shit. You know, it's like Santana's using a different kind of vocalization and, like, syntax and stuff than your typical scales and whatnot. There's a lot more going on there. And it's like... It's Hispanic music, obviously. You know, it's like salsa and fucking... You know, there was a lot of that kind of flavor in the late 90s and early 2000s. You know, I know everybody hates J-Lo now, with good reason. Her world is tumbling. The house of cards has come crashing down on J-Lo. It's about time. She's a victim of TikTok. The secret's out that she doesn't sing her own songs, and her relationship is a sham. Ben Affleck just has to get away from that publicity dumpster fire as fast as possible. That's how shallow he is. And, yeah, Big Pun, Fat Joe, what was the fucking, you know, so there was, I don't know, Enrique Iglesias, maybe that was a little bit later. But yeah, it was like just sort of pairing these kind of like pop songwriters with, this kind of amazing, you know, he's a soloist. What the fuck is he going to do? He needs somebody to sing. But the production on it, I don't know. It just, the whole album sounds like a Pepsi commercial. Didn't they do a Pepsi commercial? It's like, I don't know. It just seems like that was a weird pivot, I think. You know, where it's like, it's almost like a Sugar Ray album, though I love Sugar Ray. I've always liked Sugar Ray. They have great songs. They've always been sort of underrated and kind of a bro, but yeah, I think Santana Supernatural, I don't know, it's kind of a weird cultural curiosity. And I don't know, it's just, it paid off big time. But that's sort of what they did with American Idol and shit, where they would have these sort of people and divorce them from their band, Steven Tyler, J-Lo, or they'd have people come in and, sort of free agent it. You know, it's like Rob Thomas was still in Matchbox 20, right? How did Matchbox 20 feel about fucking whatever the fuck? What is that song called? I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of this fucking song. Smooth? Oh, how could I forget? Smooth, featuring Rob Thomas. Santana gets the main credit? That's kind of what's crazy about it. It's like a Santana album. It's like a duets album, basically. There's no way they thought that album was going to be as successful as it was. It's, you know, that's what these guys always do in their late career. They do like a duets album, like Sinatra and younger people, to make them relevant to like a younger audience, but they can also maybe sell it to old people. So they're trying to, like, it's intergenerational, okay? Once again, this is important to bridge the generations. The Supernatural album did that, okay? It bridged cultures. It bridged musical styles. It got on, you know, that song, that we still hear this fucking song every goddamn place. It's a hot one. I mean, it's a summer classic, you know? It's vivid. The guitar, Livin' La Vida Loca. How could I not mention Ricky Martin? It's part of the Latin invasion. Yeah, so Supernatural, late career duets album, jackpot for fucking Santana and Rob Thomas. Jesus Christ. So was Matchbox 20 pissed about it? Did they play Smooth? Like when if you go see Matchbox 20 live, will they play Smooth by Rob Thomas, by Santana featuring Rob Thomas? Or do they have to pay him money? I don't know. But, you know, I just wanted to pay that. Also, I think we should declare a cultural moratorium on Jolene. I'm sorry, but enough already. We love Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton has a million fucking songs. She is a great American artist and a great writer. Fucking do I'll Always Love You, for Christ's sake. Everybody does Jolene, and they act... Well, I'm saying this to Beyonce. It's become like Hallelujah. We're just like, everybody does this fucking song. Even Bob Dylan has got a fucking song called Jolene. It's not the same song, but you could tell he heard the Jack White cover. Everybody heard the White Stripes cover, and they went, oh, okay, we discovered this song. And it's like, enough already. I mean, pick something else. Do Delta Dawn. You know, do a Tanya Tucker song. It's like there's one... These people act like they're country. They ain't country. You know? And so, enough. Moratorium on Jolene. Please. I mean, I love it. We love Dolly Parton. What does it say? That the culture is, women are paranoid that their man is... I mean, the men who are in demand are in high demand. You know, there's not that many men who have options. Most of them are incels, you know, trying to live stream video game career, trying to build some kind of live stream video game career. Like myself. I mean, I'm not an incel, but the guys, you know, with options have a lot of options. And so, Jolene, please don't take my man. Please don't take my 6'5". I'm only 4'10", but my husband's 6'3". The thing, okay. I watched a woman who was describing her Cybertruck, and she's like, I can fit my kids and my 6'3" husband in the back seat. It's like, we don't need to know your fucking husband is 6'3", okay? We know you're proud of that. Women love talking about how tall their husband is. I'm only 4'10", but my husband is 6'2". I feel like a little... It's like, that's weird. You're... whatever you're into, but... oh, yeah, I also want to talk about YouTube censors my... well, the censorship on YouTube, right? Because I posted a short the other day where I made a joke on stage where I talked about... it was basically recapping. I said something in the live stream where I said, you know, in this presidential election in Mexico, they've killed 37 people have died this election cycle. They've been killed during this election cycle. And here, we can't even get one of these guys killed. And YouTube didn't even show it to anybody. You know, it literally got no views before anybody saw it. And it's like, it's because, you know, it's basically... I mean, I wasn't, like, threatening the president. But it's sort of dancing around. I mean, I guess, you know, if I had, like, a network show or something... maybe standards and practices probably would have been like, yo, you can't say that. You can't say, you know, why can't we get the president killed? You can't say that on TV. But it's also kind of crazy to me how much, and this is maybe more of a TikTok thing than YouTube, but it's hard to say. Like, you don't really, a lot of times you don't know what they're censoring, and you don't know what the guidelines are, and it seems like it's more extreme. I mean, I didn't say any cuss words. You know, I didn't say shit, piss, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits, or whatever. You know, I didn't say the 7 words. I didn't say any of them. Well, I think I did say fuck, but YouTube's usually pretty cool about me smoking weed and swearing on my live streams. It's not blocking that, really. I mean, although I'm probably deeply shadow banned by the CIA. I wish the CIA would fund my live streams. Could I get some of that CIA funding? I mean, I think I represent great American values. I'd love to have some of that propaganda money. Or is that only for the guys that went to Yale? Is that only for your Harvard buddies? Give Ashbury and, I mean, they were critics. You know, Ashbury was an art critic. Was the CIA giving him money to be like, yo, tell him this piece of shit Cy Twombly fucking thing that looks like a kid scribbled it on the wall? Tell him this guy's a genius. Is Ashbury the same thing? You know, is Ashbury just an example of, like, bullshit? I mean, he's a great writer. I think no one would argue that Ashbury is just, like, a tremendously good writer. And people love Frank O'Hara. I think Frank O'Hara, you know, kind of carries on its own weight. Like, Frank O'Hara's poems are deeply, deeply memorable. And they just sort of repeat themselves because they're so perfect, you know. It seems like our culture now is brainwashed in way different values. That's why it's so weird to see people, like, complain about this. I guess it's an example that they can point to of something that happened. Like, look, the CIA fucking sponsored this. Like, this is what they do. They're doing. But to me, it's like, it'd be much more insidious if they're sponsoring, like, Rambo movies. You know, like, if CIA is fucking responsible for, like, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or, like, you know, fucking, 9/11. You know, shit like that, that seems kind of more significant than, like, oh my god, the CIA started, like, the Paris Review. Like, is that the worst thing they ever did? I mean, are we just fucking, what should we be writing? You know, what better ideas were there? What distinct, and you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying, like they were saying, the artists were already there. You know, the work was already there. I imagine it was just a conversation. It's like, you know, all these people, they have more in common with each other than they do with us. You know, people, your zip code determines your net worth, you know? And so, like Tucker went to fucking boarding school and shit. It's a big club and you ain't in it. You know, it's like they all confer with each other. You know, and so, I mean, I suppose that's how a lot of shit works. I mean, that's how shit works in capitalism. It's like whatever gets money gets promoted and gets seen. You know, that's everything, you know? And so, I don't think that what they were promoting, like I'm saying, you know, if they're promoting abstract expressionism or whatever, modern art, I don't think it really worked. I mean, or what did it do? What did it do to, like, art that, like, contributed to all of this? You know, because to me, this is not because of the fucking CIA sponsoring modern art. I don't know. I get, like we were saying, maybe in some deep way it is. Maybe finance and Trump are free jazz at this point, and it's free market, you know, method or whatever, but I think you can even see in the way that the market has changed in the last 40 or 50 years. It's like something has mutated beyond that, where it's like everything has become super commercial, actually. You know, that style of art, abstract expressionism, I mean, I guess in some ways it's the height of commerciality because it's so expensive now, but in other ways, the initial impulse was sort of to resist commerciality. You know, it's like he's painting things that are not necessarily marketable. I guess that's why the CIA had to buy them. because nobody else probably wanted to. I don't know. Like Peggy Guggenheim liked this shit. She liked Pollock and all these critics and shit. I don't know. Maybe we should rewatch the movie. But you know, word could travel fast within those circles, these kind of Eastern Seaboard wealth circles, and they're like, oh yeah, this new art is out. Have you heard of this? You know, abstract expressionism or de Kooning or fucking, you know, they're all going to fucking Hamptons and shit, and uh, you know, they all Ashbury O'Hara, fucking Kenneth Koch, they went to Harvard. You know, it's like, it's not necessarily unbelievable that, you know, elite cultural people found out about that stuff. You know, people who worked at Time Magazine, people who worked at the New York Times or whatever, or the CIA. But I don't know. It seems to me like if you listen to that guy talk about it, it's like they're trying to promote this country. You know, it's like they're trying to like fight fucking communism or whatever, and like and set up some kind of like uh obvious identification that's differentiated from that represents, I guess, you know, capitalism in a certain way. But I don't know. I know who's a capitalist hates those paintings. I've been hearing that my whole life about how it's not real art. You know, Jackson Pollock, or first time he came to New York. You know, we went to the Guggenheim. There was like 3 fluorescent lights on the wall. And we're like, what the fuck is this? That's Home Depot. That's not art. That ain't art. If you're joining us now, we're doing our election coverage for 2024. We're trying to get the bottom of all of it. We're trying to figure it out. What's real, what's fake. What the hell else? Okay, so we had the reading last night for Lonesome. It was awesome at Tibet House. Penny Arcade was there. It was pretty cool. It was an awesome spread. They had vegan food and shit. God, I don't know. Do you guys think World War III is going to happen? Or, I mean, like I said, I think Biden is like, they want somebody that's just defenseless. You know, they want to do what they want to do. And the fact that he's like not functional, it's like, it's not going to stop them. They just want, you know, that's probably why they elected him. It was clearly even a weird choice at the time. It's like the dude was already too fucking old. But what the hell do we do? What the hell should we do? You know? Where do we go? Are we fucked? I guess just enjoy your life. You know, this is something we were talking about last night with Ashley. Her and Noah. Shout out to Noah. I mean, they're young. They're Gen Z. They're 23. And they're like, they think it's stupid that people live or think about the end of the world all the time. Or think that they're going to see the end of the world during their lifetimes. And so they live that, you know, like they don't have kids, you know, they don't want to bring kids into this world, and they sort of live, you know, and it's like, I mean, I definitely, I was 16 years old when 9/11 happened, and, you know, there was definitely like a presence that like we were living in some kind of weird new crusades that's trying to like ram this biblical prophecy home that's like going to cause the end of days, right? The fucking white Christians and the Jews and whatever are going to retake the Holy Land, Jerusalem, and Israel, and all of that. And that's gonna, but it's like, this has been going on for thousands of fucking years. It's like they've been literally fighting the Crusades probably since they left. And so why should we think that it's going to happen now? Maybe this is just dissimulation in the new clothes. The same thing just happening over and over again with new disguises, new skin, new programming, new graphics, new technology to wipe our memory, to retrieve a little bit more of the past. With each generation, we can retrieve a little bit more of the past. We get more photorealistic footage, we get more sound, we get more... I think that's why we're stuck. We're stuck because there's just so much boomer culture, and it's just still here. It's like, what do? Our society's, we're being bled dry. Oh my God, I've been watching all these fucking videos on... for some reason, TikTok's showing me all these videos of people, like, street food in India. Is this some kind of racist propaganda? Oh my God, it's very unsanitary. Let's just say that. Yeah, so it's like, it's kind of selfish maybe to think you're living in the end of days. But it's kind of fun. It's the ultimate FOMO. You don't want to miss the end of the world. That's like the ultimate shit. That's the ultimate season finale. That's the ultimate, we saw the Sopranos ending. We've seen the Seinfeld ending. The Game of Thrones ending sucked. The Lost ending sucked. I gotta see the last episode of this shit. It just goes on and on. Now it's, it's felony... dictator versus, brain dead World War III. Choose your fighter. It's like, oh my God, please, can't we get somebody sexier in there? Get somebody, there's gotta be I'll run, okay? I'm 39, I am eligible. I will run for president, okay? If you vote for me, I will fucking run right now. Okay? Instead of voting for Biden, just vote for me. Okay? I'll do it. I volunteer. Okay? I will fucking do it. If nobody else seems to... this is the best we can do. Somehow. Not RFK. I'm sorry. The guy is too... He's in Hunter Biden territory. I'm sorry. They're, not that different. He smoked crack, didn't he? Or he was a heroin addict? See, this is what I'm saying. It's like preacher kid. It's PK. If you're a politician kid, it's like having diplomatic immunity or something. I'm sure you're really fucked up. You're probably super cooked. You're like, who's the Kennedy kid on TikTok who's so annoying? They're politician kids, okay? They get away with anything. They've got guns. They smoke crack. They're fuck boys. They make you feel safe because they've never known what it's like to feel danger or insecurity. Because they're just Washington, pampered little Hunter's laptop, all right? Get the laptop. You're going down, buddy. We're sending your ass to jail. Down in, we're just going to send you down to Georgia. The corruption stops here, okay? Yeah, so this is the best we can do. It's because of all that abstract expressionism. That's what ruined America. When the CIA put all that money into fucking jazz and paintings and literature, and avant-garde literature. Jesus Christ. What a misuse of government money. Can we just send that into more, can we send that to Afghanistan? Just send all of that money to decimating, Iraq. There's some countries in the Middle East we haven't leveled yet. So fuck the Paris Review. It's better that the Paris Review doesn't exist. I think it's good to question these things, right? I guess. These institutions definitely. But they've shifted. They don't, that shit doesn't exist anymore. The scene has moved on. And now if you look around you, it's just all about corporate money and private wealth and the elite. The elite, I guess that's how it was before, but there's no social mobility. There is no working class fucking rising up by your bootstraps. Unless, I guess you could be an influencer. Somehow people are making that happen. I can never get more than 4 people to watch anything I do, so I don't know how you monetize that. I hate the word monetize. I feel like that crept into our language. I don't remember people monetizing anything in the 2000s. Now, because we just live in this ultimate free market, isn't it so much fun? We have so much freedom to make money, but we have to figure out how the fuck to do it. It's so easy. Just play the market, dumbass. Just, buy crypto, idiot. Buy Dogecoin, fucking retard. Is Tesla stock Dogecoin? I feel like it's the same thing. Yeah, can we, what did the French do? Didn't they, like, pile a bunch of shit around the fucking parliament or whatever? Well, see, they have a real left there. It's because they don't have abstract expressionism or jazz. You know? That's why they have a real left there. Why? Well, I don't know. I mean, why? America is an isolated place, and it's super corporate capitalist. You know, the idea was that we were like the leader of the free world, right? And like we had to lead by example. I think when the CIA was funding that shit, that's what they thought they were doing. They thought we are putting this country's best foot forward. Here I am defending the CIA. And then they blew JFK's head off so they could sell more Bell helicopters. But before that, before all those guys got fired, I still take baths. I mean, read Frederick Siddell. All of his poetry is like the inner monologue of these people. That generation, I believe in who we are. Whatever that poem is. Read that Frederick Siddell. I mean, I hate to say it, but Frederick Siddell typifies privilege in this country and the elite. But the elite of that generation, I think, it was before neoliberalism. It was before Reagan, Margaret Thatcher. It was different than that. They wanted to use whatever, the superpower to maintain good in the world. Like Marvel superheroes, okay? They're like Captain America. Oh God, I mean, to me, that's much worse. To me, the fact that we're cloaked in Marvel cinema is way worse. The CIA's got to be behind that. Or if, whoever. There's no question that a lot of probably the more powerful, all media is an advertisement for some kind of way of life. At least that's sort of my kick that I get out of it. Maybe I'm using it wrong. But to me, when I watch movies, when I read books, it's sort of like I'm trying to learn something about how to live, and I'm trying to see like a model for how to do it. And, I don't want to see fucking Marvel movies. What are the value? So it's like they're all advertisements for a certain, But the things that come out of Hollywood, I think that's what people are questioning. They're questioning, well, why are we seeing the things that we're seeing? Who's showing them to us, and what are they trying to get us to believe, and what is really happening? That's like what every fucking live stream, what every yapper, because the world is just, something is happening, There's some kind of weird shift that's happening. Ever since Trump got involved, everybody has been intimately yanked into fucking the political game, whether you like it or not. I mean, would it be that bad if Trump was the dictator? There'd just be cheesecake factories everywhere, and he'd treat certain people probably very well. I'm just kidding. Of course it'd be horrible, but I don't know. Who knows? We may have to face this reality, okay? So let's just start to think about it. Let's start to get used to it. We don't know. I mean, it's either that or World War III. Apparently, that's what seems to be happening. For some reason, I mean, seems like they might want to get us into a war before the election. So, at this point, I wouldn't necessarily disbelieve the idea that the pandemic was like a big way to reset, to get Trump out of there. I don't know. I don't know what the point of that was. I don't know who planned it. but it was a way of bringing this country down. Was it the New American Century? The project for a New American Century, was that part of it? Was that in the plan? To launch a pandemic after, launch a pandemic and give everybody like ridiculous amount of money, print a bunch of money, so we create this huge inflation and the cost of everything. So we just cripple a generation financially, basically, throw them off the fiscal cliff. Sacrifice the youth to the fiscal cliff, and the rest of us will get ultra fucking rich because the big fish eat the little fish, okay? The big fish eat the little fish. That's the law of nature. The bigger planets have more gravity, and so they suck all the money up. They attract all the money. The money gets magnetized to the people who have shitloads of it. And we don't get shit. We don't get any of it. We're losing, but they still charge us like we're rich. And so maybe that was the plan. Let's make America a third world country again. Bam! We did it. We did it, Joe. We fucking did it. Yeah, I guess you're right. 9/11 was the beginning of that. NAFTA. It's all been one continuous fucking puppet show, okay? And they placate everybody. Oh, we're more liberal now. Because gay people can... And good for gay people. We love gay people, It's good that gay people have rights now. Needless to say, it's a triumph. That is great. Was that the CIA? It's good. But no one can afford to have a child or a house anymore. So you win some, you lose some, You win, and women can't have abortions either. So, whoops. Who's really winning here? The ultra rich, people like Tucker, people who were born with the silver spoon up their ass. But the rest of us can get meth quality weed for $15 an eighth. So just keep chugging, keep playing Call of Duty, keep eating breadsticks, keep eating canes. Keep eating chicken fingers, god damn it. Just eat your chicken fingers and shut the fuck up. They're $17 now. Shut the fuck up. They're $17. And by the way, a used car costs $20,000. How is the car market these days? Is it affordable? My next move, I don't know. I either have to live in an RV. My next move is probably to live in an RV in like my parents' driveway. If I could live in somebody's driveway, if anybody has a driveway, I'd love to park an RV in a driveway, and I'd pay you. I'd pay you like a certain amount of money a month to use your driveway and your electricity and maybe your shower possibly. But the RV will be in the driveway, and I'll just have my RV full of books, and it'll be like this basically. I'll just smoke weed and live stream. This is one reason why it's a real shame that I'm not an influencer, because I would love to travel the world making videos and streaming about my experience. And so many jackoffs get to do this. I mean, how many people are getting to do this online? What are they doing that I'm not doing? What are they so good at? I just don't get it. I really live stream my dick off. Okay? I live stream my dick off for you people. And I love it. Thank you for watching. But I need an RV and I need a travel vlog. I'm way behind. I wanted a travel vlog like 15 years ago, okay? But I think it's all money laundering, okay? They all are just money laundered. It's all people are laundering money, and everything's rigged. Can't be that I'm not good at anything and I'm incompetent. I think I have a niche appeal, I guess. I'm a middle-aged, unshaven. I've been wearing the same shirt for like 6 months. And I'm just rambling, kind of half-baked thread, loosely tied together weave of conspiracy theories that I saw on TikTok. Apparently there's Russian warships in Miami, okay? They're making a Scarface 2. Apparently the cocaine kept him alive, and there's Russian warships in Miami. So it's the Cold War all over again, everybody. I mean, we can't get into a nuclear war. We have to avoid a nuclear war at all costs. I mean, Putin has got, like, terminal cancer. So what the fuck has he got to lose? He's a trillionaire, and he's got terminal cancer. And he's on Tucker. Tucker loves Putin. Tucker's pro-Russia. What does that mean? Are we supposed to be pro-Russia? I mean, we're the aggressor, right? But they want Ukraine. Didn't they invade? They invaded. They invaded the Ukraine. Am I wrong about this? I mean, NATO's the aggressor, but they invaded. I mean, they don't want NATO that close to them, okay? Oh, God. What a mess. What a mess. Election year, guys. Asleep at the wheel. We got Sleepy Joe. I think he's in a coma. We got Comatose Joe. Have you ever seen Dave? Just get a guy who looks like him. They always do this. The president's always fake. It's always some fake guy. It's always like, Reagan was brain dead the last couple years, I think. This is nothing new. There's been brain dead heads of administrations since time immemorial. America has always had geriatric, syphilitic, white-haired, white guys from Delaware, from the eastern seaboard. This is always, you put a powdered wig on Joseph Biden, he would fit right in with those fucking assholes. John Adams or John Quincy Adams or Millard Fillmore or Martin Van Buren. Put Biden in a powdered wig. Bring that back. Come on. The guy is wandering away from the press conference. Grandpa, maybe it's do a Lyndon Johnson. Do everybody a favor. Where's the cartel when you need them? Where's the CIA? I thought the CIA was supposed to... I think this is what the CIA wants. They want somebody who's not really in charge. And then they can decide what the fuck happens. It's the war criminals. It's the war machine. Who knows? Is it Hillary? Are we going to be in World War IX? I mean, is it all hype? They don't have the nuts. Is this Bay of Pigs Part 2? Is this the Cuban Missile Crisis sequel? Everything's a fucking reboot. Everything is a goddamn reboot. Can't we get a new war? Let's start a war with Mexico well, that's old too. Who can we start a war with that we've never started a war with before? Wag the fucking dog, you assholes. I think they're wagging the dog. That's what's happening. To quote David Mamet, ultra-Trumper David Mamet, author of China Doll. There you go. Stony Poo says war, yes. Mass scale world war, no. Yeah, I'm going to kind of agree with that. I think it's like we're already in it, and it's going to be all these proxy wars. We're going to get Ukraine to sacrifice themselves. It's unbelievable how many people have died there. That's a real fucking war. That's not like fucking, Desert Storm. That's not like the Falkland Islands, okay? That's not Oliver North. I mean, not that, or whatever the fuck it was, I don't know. I don't know anything. But that was a real war. And, but I don't think it's really possible for, like, big countries to get into the armies are way too powerful. Like, how the fuck would the United States even, like, choreograph a war with China or Russia? Like, they just send a bunch of missiles over there, probably, right? I mean, what the fuck would we do? I'm sure they have a plan. I'm sure the fucking United States Army has a goddamn plan. I mean, one thing I heard about the Army is, like, they're not actually that well trained. These are all things I've learned through TikTok. They have kind of the best everything, but when it comes to, like, actual kind of minute logistics and things, like, this is one reason why the Vietnamese was able to... They said all you needed to do was get an American in close combat and you could beat them. You know, like the Americans didn't really have the skill for that. Apparently, the M16 that the Americans used in Vietnam would jam. And they knew this, but they manufactured it anyway because that's what the gun company wanted to sell them. But the Americans would use AK-47s that they found there because it was a better gun. So a lot of Americans probably died in Vietnam needlessly because of the fucking shitty guns that they were using. Probably because some private company cut corners to make money. So imagine, I mean, you know, the American military, just because it's expensive, doesn't necessarily mean that it's fucking worth it, you know? The government is famous for overspending. I mean, where could they possibly be spending more fucking money than the military in the Pentagon's kind of like secret budget or whatever? You know, there's some fucking plane that costs like $1.6 trillion and it like doesn't even work. Like that is absolutely fucking insane. Can we get some more abstract expressionism here? Just take a little bit of that money and let's can you like put some fucking hype onto my noise band? System Lord is actively soliciting CIA donations. If you want to give, if the CIA wants to give System Lord money, hell yes, we will take it. No, I mean, I'm sure the United States military could kick anybody's ass. You know, we've spent so much goddamn money that we could kick anybody's ass. I'm sure of it. But it might be easier for us to fight. Who the fuck knows? Who on... I think, well, the idea is we want to do everything we possibly can to prevent that from happening. I think all countries, maybe not Russia, but all the other countries agree. It's like pro wrestling. You know, they want a war with Russia because it's like they sell guns. They want a war with something. They got to sell guns. You know, that's how they make their money. So it's like maybe the whole thing... I mean, Tucker is interviewing Putin. Right? Like, does Putin not want the war? Is that what he's saying? He's saying... I mean, well, that's kind of the wolf in sheep's clothing is a lot of these right-wing people pose like they're anti-war. A lot of them talk like, oh, we shouldn't have been in Iraq and we shouldn't have been here and there. It's like, well, you guys were in an office and you voted for it. It's like, it's easy for you to say that now, but, you know, they're saying that shit about Russia now. If Trump got elected, what would happen? You know, would immediately the war stop? How would he handle the war? Apparently, he told Putin that he would, I forget the language he used. He would drop it on him or something like that. He said something that just let him know. This is what he claimed. I'm sure he lied. The bear, does the Pope shit in the woods? Yeah, so, and then, of course, we have the whole Israel situation, which is also a fun thing to throw into the mix. And that, well, that makes it extra, you know, I mean, Biden, right? Maybe that's who's pulling the strings. You know, in the Weekend at Bernie's scenario, maybe Andrew McCarthy is AIPAC and Jonathan Silverman is, I don't know, the people that own everything, the private corporations, BlackRock, the equity that's buying this country like it's a fucking company store. It's just going to be a big work town. We're going to be subscription-based. Everything's going to be subscription-based. This is going to be great. It's going to be like going to the gym. I love subscriptions. Just charge me. Just auto-charge me. Auto-charge my account. I've got subscriptions. I've got a Netflix. I've got a... You know, I knew, well, okay, I jumped off Adobe when they started to pull this shit. The first one who really did this was Adobe Premiere, right? Because one day I had the program on my computer. I was editing videos with it. The next day I didn't have it because they removed it because of the serial number and made you start paying a subscription to use it. That's when I was like, okay, this is fucking bullshit. Now I can't just buy something and own it. Everything's in the cloud, and I have to pay to access it. It's like, yeah, that works for them, but it's less freedom, okay? Did the CIA do that? I think big tech did that. People like Peter Thiel, people with a financial structure. People who brought a financial structure into the hippie Silicon Valley. Palo Alto. Palo Alto was where Jerry Garcia met Bob Weir, okay? They were playing bluegrass music in a garage. That was like Facebook starting. What's going on in Palo Alto that there's all these amazing collaborative startups? It must be the acid. It must be the CIA MK Ultra experiment that they did out there. Goddamn CIA. Fucking CIA. Without them, we'd have no... Yeah, John McAfee. There you go. Did they kill him? John McAfee. That's one of the amazing things about tech is it just enabled all these fucking, like, just, like, alpha male fucking maverick douchebags who didn't like wearing shirts. John McAfee, like, never had a shirt on. Didn't he put himself? It was like McAfee Security. It's like a picture of him with his goatee and shit. I should do an Easy Paradise ad of McAfee. Is that his name, McAfee? He died, right? He died in South America. I'm sure the fucking CIA killed him, right? I'm sure the goddamn CIA killed him. It's not even the CIA anymore. You know, I don't think it's the CIA. I think it's like, now they have other agencies. You know, everybody knows about the CIA. Everybody's like, oh, it's a fucking CIA. That's like a Hollywood front, okay? They want you to think it's the CIA, okay? That's what they want you to think. But it's really the fucking NSA, you know? It's really the INS, NSA, FBI. They're saying, look over here, you know? Look over here. It's the Paris Review. It's Jackson Pollock, when reality, it's Korn, it's Limp Bizkit, it's TRL, it's Britney, it's Clear Channel. It's Peter Thiel. You know, it's rich people putting tons of money into court cases that are going to decide things. You know, now the Supreme Court is rigged. Whatever they want to get decided, it's Billy Joel. No, Billy Joel's one of the good ones. Billy Joel was a product. He got lucky because boomers. He's a CIA. He's also a CIA. Okay, CIA totally planted Billy Joel. He's like a fucking Holiday Inn singer at best, okay? But he represents boomer values. Fucking Big Shot is all about moving to the suburbs, right? Or fucking Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. What is it? Moving out. I'm moving out. Why do you think he's playing at Madison Square Garden? He controls the New York region, okay? Of course he has to be in their pocket. It's all fucking, yeah, there you go. It's all propaganda for boomer wealth, okay? Piano Man. Just Captain Jack will get you high tonight, get a house in the Hamptons, you live that Long Island lifestyle, and just listen to this, like, sort of cocktail music, and just be happy on your way to the gallows. Be happy on your way to the fucking Soylent Green machine. We're all in the Soylent Green death theater, okay? They're trying to anesthetize us with fucking infinite... You know, the media did get fucked because what they make could be disembodied and sold. All the movies, music, magazines, newspapers, that shit totally got vaporized with the internet, and the internet basically just stole it and gave it away for free. So there's no way to make money. It seems like the internet has done computers and tech have done every fucking thing they can to just destroy the creative class in this culture and the ability to be an artist. First, you had to join them. You had to be this sort of, you know, stooge for a brand and use your Adobe skills, your fucking Photoshop skills, or your graphic design skills to sell underwear or fucking Target or whatever the fuck it is. Abercrombie and Fitch. Whatever part of the dark mall culture that everybody loves. The consumerist co-option of our town square and our values and our communal gathering places, our third spaces, just all got fucking monetized out the ass. They just found if they could turn everything into a mall, they could make more fucking money. You know, everything. Your phone goes with you everywhere. TikTok is a mall. You just buy shit right off it. Buy my book, send me money. Venmo me money. It's all sales, okay? You better sell your ass. You better sell that shit. And if you can't swim in this economy, then you die, okay? It's sink or swim, okay? It's fuck or walk. Have you made your decision for Christ? A, B, C. Always be closing, okay? Always be closing. Are you closing? Are you out there fucking closing? Oh my God. It's the art of the deal, okay? You have to be a self-made billionaire. Well, okay, what about this real estate thing? Now you don't get any money to, like, sign these real estate deals. That was a huge court case that got decided recently. It used to be like if you were an agent. My stepdad was a real estate broker, which basically means you're just there at the fucking contract signing. You get, like, thousands of dollars. You get, like, tens of thousands. Yeah, exactly. They changed the commission standard, which to me, this doesn't really make sense because there's a whole class of people that, like, are real estate agents that are, like, able to make sort of, like, a pseudo-luxurious living. You know, they're all kind of these Real Housewives. They're all, like, reality show people. All these realtors are, like, you know, fucking house turnover shows. Or, you know, there's all these fucking shows about, like, fucking real estate porn. You know, it's all like, oh, this fucking house, we're trying to sell this house for fucking... It's like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you have to always be closing, God damn it. You have to be brass balls to have a salesman. You have to have sales. You just have to not give a fuck. I mean, you have to know, it's a feel thing. It is a feel thing, and it's a people thing, you know? It's not, it does take a certain type of person, but, well, there you go. It's more like having an in. There you go. If you can fucking sell a $20 million property and collect whatever, a 10% commission or something, you're going to be a rich-ass fucking person. But now what is it? It's like $5,000 standard commission or some shit like that. It's just weird to me at this time they would want to fuck anybody over in this economy. You know, like if there's people... The people that I knew that were real estate agents in New York, it was always like artists. I knew a guy who was a painter who did it. I knew actors that did it. And it was sort of like you can get your license in a couple weeks. It's almost like a driver's exam or some shit, but it costs money. You got to take a test. And then what? You can just like show any property, right? You can just like go anywhere and be like, yeah, this apartment is fucking... And then like you might get a broker fee or this or that. It's like, I don't know, you just meet the person at the apartment. For some reason, it seemed like a job for people who didn't want to work, to be honest. I mean, my stepdad definitely did not want to have a job. He wanted to make as much money as possible for doing as little as possible, like we all do. But it's like, as a fucking real estate broker, it's just like, supposedly, people were complaining online. They're like, finally, these people are finally getting, you know, what they got it's coming for them. Because, like, no, he wasn't good at it at all. He did his own properties and he tried to like intervene on other people. It was about connections, like you're saying. You have like a friend, like my mom's friend from high school was selling her house and she was rich. And so, you know, he didn't really do a whole lot. You know, he shows the property and he kind of, you know, he's an intimidating kind of bossy guy. So he kind of like, you know, he's like Trump. I don't know. He fucking just showed up and kind of was a prick, and they thought this guy must know what he's doing. Here's $20,000 for nothing, for an afternoon of work. Pretty good. I mean, if you could, you know, if you really could get into those circles and get people to trust you, but I don't know. I mean, you know, it's all about having a business card and a sign and access to the really valuable properties. You know, I think part of the real estate game is seeing what's ahead. seeing what's going to be valuable later. Like, but now, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, everything's so goddamn expensive. It's like, well, that's what's crazy to me about this. It's like, why would they fucking get rid of this? Because, yeah, they'll do it. They will do it. They will do it. They'll have no choice. The city is on life support as it is in a certain way. Yeah, it's crazy in Midtown right now. That's a very vibrant place. I'd live there. I'd move in right now. I don't care. I barely taking a shower is bad for you, okay? You don't need to take that many showers, okay? I'll figure it out. Just let me move into the Empire State Building. I will figure it out, okay? We'll take it from there. We're artists. We'll paint some shit. We'll get a fucking microwave mini fridge combo. I'll move all my books in. It'll be like a clubhouse. It'll be like living in a tree house. Let's get all the artists in the Empire State Building, for fuck's sake. When the city fucking becomes I Am Legend, we're all going to move into the Empire State Building like we're fucking King Kong, okay? And we're going to live in the Empire State Building. Wasn't there a woman living in the Empire State Building? Didn't he get the woman from inside the building? Or was that a different building? I'm pretty sure he went into the Empire State Building and grabbed the woman in her apartment. Come on. We're ready. We're ready to make it our colony, our art colony. CIA. Where's the CIA when you need them? Take that fucking airplane that you paid $1.6 trillion for. And I think they have multiple of these planes, by the way. The thing is, it doesn't have to work. They don't need it to work. They just need to get the $1.6 trillion into the weapons contractors' bank accounts as fast as possible and as legally as possible. So they put that into the dark budget or whatever. And the country is... Where's all... And then people buy F-350s with it, I guess. Where's all this money going? It's just hoarding. People are just hoarding it. It's like this money needs to circulate, needs to flow, and Jesus Christ. We're on the precipice. I don't know. What's next year going to look like? Is it going to be just like this? Is it going to be chill? I've been watching a lot of World War II movies. It did take a few years for that thing to kind of rev up. The Germans invaded Poland in 1939. The United States didn't get involved until almost 1942. So it's like things definitely seem to be escalating slightly, a little bit at a time, and we're just keeping an eye on it. We're monitoring the situation. It does seem like there's masters of war pulling the strings, and I don't know. Do they want to get people to fight? What does that do? I think they think they have to have a war. I mean, this is America. We're never not involved in a war. We just pulled out of one war. We got to get into another. But like I said, I think we're doing it discreetly through these proxy wars. But I don't know. I think people are reacting in ways. There is like a jockeying back and forth, right? Where Trump does seem to be on Russia's side. But I mean, they're all kind of on the same side in a way. I mean, they're all on it's great Satan and it's little Satan, okay? And we're in it to win it. For some reason. We have to achieve the biblical prophecy, okay? And bring about the rapture. So people like Mitch McConnell can go to there you go. Ukraine will eventually have NATO troops. See, that's what I'm saying. It's inching up. And people can you see it every day. There's some new, okay, now it's fucking, we're giving them guns and saying, hey, you can use these guns now and blah, blah, blah. And so, the D-Day shit, Biden at D-Day shitting his pants. It's a perfect metaphor. Wandering away from the press conference. It's the blind leading us into a war that they're not going to fight. It's probably a bunch of old people that are just like, yeah, let's fucking kick some ass. Send all these young TikTok. These kids need to learn some levity. These kids need a lesson. These Gen Z punks. We'll see how fucking woke you are. We'll see how woke you are when you're in a foxhole, goddammit. Now drop and give me 20. We're gonna march all day. Oh, I sued my boot camp instructor for trauma. My boot camp instructor yelled at me, so I sued him. I don't think Gen Z would go to war. I don't think they would. I think certain of them might be psyched about it. See, that they already kind of know that. When they do recruiting now, it's like they get kids that play Call of Duty. They get kids that, like, want to fucking see action and shit. Kids, you know, too young to know better. It's unbelievable how young people who fight a war are. Considering the president is fucking 81. And, like, everybody in the goddamn Congress is 80. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about the future. They don't care. They don't care. They don't give a fuck about us. They don't really care about us. Just like Michael Jackson said, okay? All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. They're ready to edit. It's time for the great edit, okay? The FEMA death coffins, okay? It's really happening, okay? But at least we get to smoke crystal meth weed and narcissistically self-medicate in our micro-influencer bubble domes. And, you know, at least we tried. I tried to live my life the best that I could do, you know? I did every goddamn thing I could possibly do to be as free as and fucking personally expressive as goddamn possible. Maybe I didn't, it's just, it feels like we're living in an emergency. How can we live in any other way? But, I mean, if your kid is in danger of getting shot when they go to school, that's like a crisis. You know, or if you're in danger of getting shot, like, anywhere you go. If you get shot at a country music concert in Las Vegas by some old fucking dude with a chain gun just sucking Marlboros and drinking Molson Ice. Kick his ass, Seabass. Who's a dead man who hit me with a salt shaker? I don't know. We're doing the best we can. We're trying to spread information. We're trying to consult with each other. We're consulting. We're trying to spread love and light and goodness against this weird evil. I mean, are they right? I mean, the Bible says it. The Bible says it. I don't know. You know, people are turning to Jesus. It's yeah, I don't know. I'd rather live in the now. I don't know. We're just trying to be artists in New York. We're trying to be CIA funded. Trying to follow our abstract. We got brainwashed by the CIA. You know, fucking. Now they want to make it impossible to be an artist or even have any kind of quality of life at all. It's a real drag. It's a real bummer, man. How are we supposed to have a good time with all this kind of chaos? Peaceful chaos. That's what Tucker said January 6th was. He said it was a peaceful chaos. It was not an insurrection. It was a peaceful chaos. Yeah, but let's put Hunter Biden in jail, goddammit, the crackhead. Jesus would not be a Republican. Would Jesus be pro-life? Jesus will burn you in hell forever for having an abortion, okay? I saw the signs, okay? I went to the pro-life rally in Columbus, Ohio. These people are There's nothing behind their eyes. You want to talk about brainwash? Jesus Christ. The more abstract expressionism, the better. I think they thought they were going to liberate people with acid and New York school poetry. But no, people want to listen to Toby Keith and get increasingly sort of Walmart corporatized, homogenized. We love being minions. We love being minions. We love Despicable Me 4. Keep making Despicable Me movies, please. Expand the Despicable Me fictional universe, please. I need to see more fucking backstory, more lore on the Minion. We need more Minion lore. Oh, God. On all these Indian street food videos, they're eating like mice and shit. They're putting their hand in the fucking chutney, like way up to their, their feet are in it. It's crazy. I mean, maybe they probably just do that for social media as a stunt. But this guy in the comments said during the Great Depression, if you killed a rat in his family, you were a hero. Because you got to eat. Hopefully it doesn't come to that for us in the end times. I mean, they're already feeding us like severely degraded food. It's all like soy, so I think they figured out a way how to just like give us chow. They give us like feed. We all get like feed now. You just strap on your feed bag. It's full of like some kind of soy meal. Impossible burgers. Or, some kind of gluten-free soy thing. There's no real food anymore. There's no real cooking happening. It's all just like order it, DoorDash it, get some kind of package delivery, where they give you like 20 meals in advance and you just like microwave it. Some kind of food delivery subscription. I'm subscribed to this Great Foods now. I've got this Great Food subscription service. I'm subscribed to these chicken sandwiches that are great. They send me a new one every Wednesday. Could I get a subscription where I just like have food delivered to me from a different restaurant every day? That's obviously the future. They want to turn everything to a ghost kitchen. Things are just being disembodied and interfaced through the internet. That's just all that's happening. And so you'll get Chipotle from a ghost kitchen. And they'll just deliver it to you with a drone delivery, okay? Just get used to it on your self-driving Tesla. That crashes into a police car. Because it's foggy outside and the sensors don't work. And then it explodes, trapping, burning you alive because of the battery. It's super hot. It's an amazing, God, I love the future. The future rocks. All of the worst aspects of the past with intensified, and then with none of the perks. Just none of the perks of the future. The future really hasn't arrived. It's like a bunch of people like trying to impersonate the future, like, oh, we've got a Cybertruck. It's like, yeah, it's a piece of shit. Look at something that a 4-year-old drew. The fucking Cybertruck looks like a goddamn 4-year-old drew it. It looks like it was, when I see Jackson Pollock, I see adulthood, I see maturity, I see beauty, I see grace, I see the dance. I see the rhythm of the dance. I see Diaghilev, I see Balanchine. I see ballet, I hear Stravinsky. When I see the Cybertruck, I fucking see, Kid Rock's riding around in it. Kid Rock loves it. When I see the Cybertruck, I think this is like RoboCop. This is the big fucking RoboCop machine gun that kills the guy. This is a Verhoeven kind of, Verhoeven was satirizing the Nazis. Everything Verhoeven, it was like he had seen that because he had been in Europe as a child. And so his films were all like about Reagan era America, how it was becoming a police state and super corporate and lawless. The cops can do whatever the fuck they want and automatized and AI cops, basically. Blow your nuts off, machine with machine like precision. I'll buy that for $1. And so he just wants to be Paul Verhoeven so bad. He just wants to be in Total Recall so bad. And it's like, well, we're still living in the fucking, I don't know, agrarian society. There's value to durability, handcrafted, all of that jazz. But we're in the cyber dystopia. The children of the apartheid state are, making all the rules, designing all the products. They own Twitter. They own the media, essentially. Elon Musk bought the media for $40 billion. Because the wealth inequality and the economic disparity and the deregulation that has allowed that. Those people just own the government now. So they just make themselves richer. They keep changing the rules. They keep giving themselves tax cuts. They transfer their wealth generationally. They transfer the nepo cabbage. It's all nepo cabbage. I didn't get a piece of that nepo cabbage. I tried to pull myself up on my bootstraps, but no one was listening. They all like vibey post Mac DeMarco studio white guy funk. Because the CIA didn't fund yacht rock. That just reflected, I don't know, commercial values. Americans don't want to have to think about anything. They want to be wowed immediately. They want something that's instant gratification and candy. Pop music. There can be levels. There shouldn't be this anti-intellectual, like, that painting looks like shit. That painting looks like my kid painted it. I can't believe it cost $300 million. Maybe it shouldn't cost $300 million, but, it's like Juan Moreau. It was like a bunch of different paintings. It wasn't just like, it's like the CIA didn't promote Juan Moreau. It's like people just buy his paintings because it's a name. Probably the abstract expressionists got more famous because of the publicity that was planted for them. But once again, like, that's everybody. J-Lo got famous. If you suck Harvey Weinstein's dick, he'll put you in out of sight. Or whatever. We're learning that. I don't know. Apparently that's how it works in Hollywood. I don't know. Is that true? Is that false? Maybe it's not that clean cut or simple, but I don't necessarily know that just having, like, the most, it's just because something is, like, popular in numbers or something does not necessarily mean that it's, like, culturally important. I don't know. It just seems like that's the game now. Unless you're getting 1 billion views or something, it's like you're not like a cultural powerhouse. And there are cultural powerhouses. And so it's like things that get no views are not important at all. Whereas it's like, okay, something like abstract expressionism, this kind of work, maybe it wouldn't have had a lot of people that liked it. And then they sort of, like, I don't know, talked people into liking it or something, brainwashed people into liking it. And so now it's super bad. People still don't like it. You know? I think that's an anti-intellectual bias. People are not really wanting to know what the painting is about. They don't like that it's about an idea. It doesn't immediately hit them, and they don't go, wow, I couldn't paint this. That's good. That's like a fucking, Yngwie Malmsteen guitar solo. That guy's playing fast. That's like Dragon Force. And it's just like, we live in this blockbuster culture where it's just like, it's got to pin you to your seat and wow you, and you have to know immediately what, I don't know, because so many things do have that effect. There are works of art, pop art, music that deliver that, time and time again. That's sort of what you're supposed to attain now as an artist, is like, people are supposed to see what you do and go, just, wow, that was great. Holy shit. I'm blown away. My hair stood on the back of my neck. That is the goal. But, one of the opportunities of the internet is we can all just realize ourselves as best as we can. And there should be more of a democracy of voices and an idiosyncrasy of voices where people just do their own thing and do their own ideas. You can do your own idea online and just do it and post it, and probably nobody will like it or look at it, but it affects people. It does affect people. Even if nobody's liking your posts, if you have like a recurring thing that you do, or like trademarks, it's like people are remembering it and it's affecting them. It's like there are people that are kind of obnoxious about their self-promotion, or they're posting every fucking event they go to, or, they are, nobody likes their art that they make, or, okay, Ashley, good night. It's supposed to rain tomorrow night, you know that? It's supposed to rain tomorrow night. Love you, Ashley, okay? Love you, Ashley. Thank you for not spamming the chat. It's very nice of you. We covered a lot of ground. We've talked about World War III and Nothing Lasts Forever, directed by Tom Schiller. That's my movie recommendation. Check out Nothing Lasts Forever, directed by Tom Schiller. Oh, yeah, Ashley's going to summit. Oh, she's going to an event at the kitchen. Okay, maybe we'll hang after. Okay. All right. Yeah, so the internet gives us all a way to like snitch on each other. Everybody's a whistleblower now. Everybody's blowing the whistle on everybody else. We're going to pastis. We have reservations at Dorsia, okay? The weird part about American Psycho is it has taken on this life, and it like embodies, I don't know. It's just crazy how much men relate to that character, and how it just still, it's like a, for Gen Z or something, it's like something that they, okay, Ashley, okay. And, like Gen Z, I feel like sort of wants to be Patrick Bateman in a way. People in New York have a little bit of a Patrick Bateman-y, kind of like, Wall Street, tall, good-looking, serial killer capitalist thing going on. Eating at pastis. Okay, Ashley, good night. Eating at pastis. Maybe I'll go back over here for a second. Okay. This is crazy. Isn't this great? Here we go. Like Mr. Rogers. We're going back now. Isn't that fun, boys and girls and non-binary children? Now, wasn't that fun, everybody? Okay, this is the launch last night at the Wren. Okay, I want to do a cheeseburger review. I want to do an account where I review New York burgers because I've been eating tons of different. It's usually the cheapest thing on the menu, so it's usually what I get. And you always get fries, so it delivers. You know, the burger at the Ren was probably the worst I've had. Maybe it might. I don't know. PJ Clark's might be the worst. With PJ Clark's, at least you got a tomato and onions and like lettuce, I think, which like is like traditionally what's on a burger. But this Ren place, it's like a McDonald's cheeseburger from like the 90s. It was just like melty cheese all over the fucking thing, onions, pickles, no tomato, no ketchup. The bun was super fucking McDonald's, like sugary and glazed. So the Ren cheeseburger, I give it a 2, a 2.8. And then PJ Clark's I give like not even that. I mean, like a 3, I guess. Hamburger America, I give, I don't know, maybe like a 4. It was okay. But Waverly Inn, I mean, that was the best burger I've ever had. That was like a 9.5. Bouvet had an excellent blue cheeseburger. That was like a 9.3. I'm stealing Barstool Sports. I'm just stealing his idea. I'm doing Barstool Sports, but for cheeseburgers. So these are my review of New York City burgers that I've had. 7th Street Burger was okay. Everybody's a food blogger. You know, if you want to get followers, you just be a food blogger. All right, thanks for watching Stony Poo. All right. I mean, I do have 20% battery left, so this is the end of my vlog. Did I want to show a different video or something? I thought there was something else I wanted to show. I don't know. Should I keep going? I feel like I kind of want to keep going a little bit. Maybe I'll, God, because, you know, I've been doing it less, but if I do it longer, I don't know. Do people watch the whole thing? I'm not sure. You know, the ones that get watched a lot are kind of mysterious to me. There's certain ones that get like 60-hour views. And it's not necessarily because they have more clicks. It's just like people stay with them longer or something. It's like, I try to do the best I can in every vlog, but there's, or live stream rather, radio broadcast. But, you know, there's rough patches where you don't know what to talk about, or you're just getting started, or maybe you're not being super hilarious or insightful, or I'm an epiphany junkie, okay? I'm constantly trying to excavate. I'm a Minecraft, I'm a Bitcoin miner, you know? And so I'm mining epiphanies, and I'm trying to mine insight into the culture. I mean, look, it seems like we're fucked either way, quite frankly. Unless Biden dies, I really don't. And even if he dies, they will probably reanimate him or get Jim Carrey to do it. They should get Dana Carvey. To me, he's the best Biden. But they both need to die. But it doesn't seem like they want. You know, it seems like half the people do want Trump to get elected, and some kind of secret cabal behind everything wants Biden to stay in office. And, you know, they're sort of using Biden as like a body shield against Trump. They're, you know, pretending like they're protecting us. But meanwhile, they're sort of micro-escalating World War III or something, one step at a time. I think maybe they want a war just for the economy. You know, they can't figure out a way to get out of inflation, really. Like, what got us out of the Great Depression? Right? WWII. Okay? And this might be just the thing to jumpstart the American economy. And get people off their asses working again. Well, okay, this is a big difference between World War II America and now. Is World War II, I mean, didn't they have sort of a manufacturing base to, like, you know, build bombs and guns? I mean, I guess they already are, but it's like, you know, if America had to go into like a wartime economy situation, we moved all the factories overseas and shit. They're all in China. And are we really going to be able to get off our asses and manufacture and feed ourselves and clothe ourselves and send, bullets over there and all that kind of shit? I mean, uh, who the fuck knows? I mean, maybe if we spend all this money on the army and defense, quote unquote. It used to be the Department of War, you know, Secretary of War. If we were spending $750 billion a year or $800 billion a year on war, the War Department, maybe people would think differently about it, but it's defense. Everything's about national security and defense. It's like we don't have any national security. The nation is dead. It's fucked. No one has a place to live. Apparently, we're all going to live in 3D printed houses. you know, Maybe they are just trying to destroy people's standards so that like we will get used to living in micro houses. I would live in I have lived in a micro house. Okay, my brother lived in a micro house. I lived in a micro. I can live in a micro house. Okay, I could easily live in a micro house. Just tell me where to buy it. Tell me where to go. I'll live in a micro house. Can I get a micro house in Brooklyn? Is there a lot I can get? Where can I put my micro house? Can I order an Amazon house and put it in Brooklyn somewhere? Can I put it on somebody's roof, maybe? Is that an option? Can we just put micro houses on roofs? I would live in a micro house. It's just I don't want to necessarily move out of the city. And so, where's the micro apartments, right? This is supposed to be a thing in New York. I would live in a micro apartment. If you could pay $800 a month to live in like, a small room and share a bathroom, I would do that. If it provided it was in a good location, near good restaurants and nightlife and public transport. But I don't see any micro houses. I don't know anybody that lives in a micro house. I don't know anybody who's 3D printed a micro house, but I guess, maybe that's the future. Maybe that's, this is the future that tech people would have us believe that we want. I think there is propaganda. That's the, I don't know why people want to talk about the CIA from 70 years ago when the propaganda that's in front of us is clearly for Tesla, for Elon Musk. He bought X. Now it's all about AI, NVIDIA, the stock market, whatever gets hyped, whatever gets reported in the newspapers. And, what are the... It seems to me like there is a war of content. That's why I talk about movies or Hollywood versus Netflix, it's Ted Sarando's Silicon Valley culture in my poetry, because that is kind of a big artistic change. The form of movies and video and what it means is morphing with the times, and Hollywood is dying. And I think the tech people sort of are, they're extortion. They're bust out. They get into everybody's business, and they bleed it dry, and then they, it's like a tool, but like it's like an incarnation of a financial kind of locust. Finance just gets into things kind of like undercarriage of like funding and shit and just buys it, whatever. Whereas like the tech thing gets into like the infrastructure of things. And so they team up in this way. The tech and finance, they work together and they just kind of get into every industry. So with Hollywood, right, it's streaming and all of the fucking funding that goes into these new movies. The death of cinema or people going to the movie theater, or they can't sell DVDs anymore. It's all streaming. So how do they make money? It's through their IP. It's through these big fictional universes, and so all of that shit has become prioritized. And it's like it's all because of no more DVDs. It's all free. The internet, the tech companies have just decided, hey, we're just going to give this stuff away more or less, or the technology enables that. They could probably stop it. They could probably work harder to scrub the internet of, you can watch any goddamn movie for free on the internet. Like, that's not an accident. I suppose they'd have to go in constantly scrubbing things, but like, it probably wouldn't be that hard for them to do it. It seems like they kind of want that. They want you to be. Well, it's also a way of just like disempowering these industries. Hollywood is at their mercy because like they have no way to fucking make money because tech is giving their fucking shit away for free. Spotify has literally just said this, right? Doesn't cost anything to produce music, so they don't owe the artist anything. Basically, is what they're saying. Fuck you, we don't owe you anything. It's like, because it doesn't cost you anything to produce your music. It's like, that's their perception because, they're not necessarily paying for studio, although a lot of people do that. A lot of people do pay for studio time and whatnot. So it does cost money in a lot of different ways, but it's always been based on like an exploitative model of people's talent. But now it's just like the tech people just feel like they have license for some reason. It's like, yeah, we'll just give this, I don't know. I mean, I'm more in favor, right, of being able to listen to music for free on the internet. I think that is how it should be. But we also live in the society that says if you're not paying for yourself, then you don't exist. And so that's sort of stupid and unfair, and it's getting rid of the economics of what made music what it was. It's like making it harder and harder to make that a career. And not that it was ever easy, but or I don't know, maybe you just have more people posting shitty music to Spotify and complaining like, why is I'm not getting paid for this? I got 10,000 streams on my fucking song that I recorded in GarageBand. I should be getting paid a living wage. It's like, well, now apparently they're like, they are planting their own bands into like playlists and shit. And so the bands will get a lot of plays because they're in the Spotify playlist. And then so they get a part of that money back or something. So it's like they're going to have their own, I don't know. Just like Netflix, right? Just like Netflix sort of started to make its own shit and became a studio. And in fact, became the biggest fucking studio because they just had a leg up as far as distribution went on everybody else. All of the other studios were at their mercy and had no fucking clue how to catch up. You could just get Netflix and see every fucking movie. It was just all on Netflix, or get the DVDs or whatever. Yeah, so it seems like they just want power over everything. And why would Washington be any different, I don't know. It's enough to drive you insane thinking about it. Well, as artists now we have to like constantly be like moving from one rock that's disappearing to another and just like scrambling to keep up with like, okay, what the fuck do I do? Okay, now I create a TikTok account and try to build followers on this entirely new fucking thing for like the nth time. How many different platforms have I signed up for and built followers and then after a couple years never used again? You know? Um, One interesting aspect of this, right? Like, is Uber or like certain things, certain of these businesses like lose money, right? Like a lot of these like businesses, like I think WeWork or food delivery or like Sweet Green or a lot of these like tech businesses, like they're being underwritten for the first few years. They're losing money. Like Uber, they are doing their business model knowing they're losing money because the people who are putting the money in it want to destroy the cab unions and shit. They want to destroy the sort of culture of like um, collective bargaining and shit like that. And so they're willing to lose money for the first few years that they introduce Uber to a new fucking city or whatever. But they're going to take over. That's their ultimate goal. And they also just want to disable the kind of public infrastructure that's there. It's just weird. It's weird how this country is like being sold before our very eyes to like private equity. And what the hell can we do about it? It's like it's being in this country. You feel like you're in this room where they're like locking all the doors and they're closing all the doors and locking them, and you're being locked in the funhouse, and you're like, what the fuck is about to happen? They're raising the prices of every goddamn thing. Private equity's buying everything. The president has got a lobotomy, and they're sort of like arm wrestling over how the fuck World War. I guess if Trump was the president and there were to be, uh, they, I don't know, they would probably get what they want without having to fight a war. Maybe I don't. He probably would do to Ukraine, right? What he did to the Kurds or whatever, right? Where he just sort of left them out to dry. He would probably withdraw the support or whatever, and they get slaughtered, right? Or that's what Putin wants them to do. Is remove the United States. But who the fuck, maybe it's not our business to be over there. But he also just wants the Ukraine, right? I mean, he just wants that as part of Russia for a number of reasons. They want the coastline, all of that shit. I don't know. I try to write poetry against this shit, and read it to people and put it on the internet so people can hear it. And reiterate things that I heard on Joe Rogan podcast with Tim Dillon, I guess. Peace on earth, goodwill toward men. Peace and love, everybody. Just keep... Well, let me eat. I'm going to have some of this... maybe I'll do a little mukbang. We'll do a real reality show, okay? This will be like a slice of life. There you go. That's a good shot right there, actually. So I get these potato things, but they're filled with meat. I think I've gained a bunch of weight in my face in the last year. Inflammation and bad diet. Stress. there anything else I need to talk about? I don't know. I used to think we could save the world. We could turn this around. And now it feels, I mean, it feels like people want that. It feels like people do want to turn it around. And it does feel like most people have sense about this. But it also just feels like we're trapped in this. Hello, Just Barry. Hello, Barry. It does feel like we're trapped in this, like, where there's just bad options. It's just bad options either way. And we just, I don't know, got to take our medicine or go through it, you know, just go through it, get it over with. I mean, really, that's one thing this guy was saying, and it's true. It's like, you know, if there is going to be like a revolution in this country, or if the country's going to collapse, you know, the people that are going to take control are the people with all the guns. It's going to be the January 6th people. I mean, they were the ones who literally were there. They could have done it probably if they just had a little bit more awareness. But, you know, it would be nice if there was going to be some kind of liberal Park Slope food co-opification of this country. But I think the days of the CIA funding free jazz, or, you know, New York School poetry, the shining hour of American imperialism, touring Europe with modern art shows curated by Frank O'Hara, him writing masterpiece poems. I guess they're propaganda for Coca-Cola. We're victims of America, okay? What can we say? We're just victims of America, doing the best we can to survive and thrive in the 21st century dystopia. We're 25 years into the 21st century. How crazy is that? We're the quarter of the way through the whole damn century. You ever try cold showers? I did do cold showers for a little while. I used to have more of like a disciplined kind of routine. I'd meditate every day. I wouldn't necessarily take the whole shower cold. I guess that doesn't really count. This is my approach to everything. You know, I'd sort of get in the shower and do what I had to do when it was warm, and then towards the end I would, well, not maybe halfway through, I'd turn it to cold water. And then for the rest of the shower I'd do cold water. And that was my way of sort of like habitualizing myself to leaving my comfort zone. You know, that was my way of every day I'm like, I'm going to do something that I know is not going to be feeling good, and it's going to be like, ugh, this is no fun. And to be honest, I've just eliminated things like that from my life. And, well, not entirely. Like, you know, for me, I'm so nervous when I go on stage. And that's sort of me leaving my comfort zone and trying to figure out how to operate out of my comfort zone, that, like, for better or for worse, I've kind of sacrificed. You know, like, I don't have a lot of discipline in the same way outside. You know, I try to take comfort everywhere I can outside of that. You know, like, I stopped working out, really. I stopped meditating. My diet went out the window about a year ago. You know, but I was like, oh, I'm going to go on stage every day and do my 10,000 hours and become a master. Like Joe Rogan. You just have to do stand-up for 10 years, you know. And I need to get back in the comedy clubs. It's been too long since I've done a stand-up comedy open mic. But once you get out of the doing it, it becomes kind of intimidating. To get, you know, you just have to go. So So yeah, I did cold showers for a little while. It was part of my whole kind of like self-discipline regimen. But I really could only do that when I didn't have a job, really. I mean, I was working. I had a period of more kind of like self-discipline where I would get up early for, I mean, video stuff, you got to wake up super early, 5 a.m., 4 a.m. sometimes. We went to Colorado, it was cold, like you're flying everywhere. There's things about it. Plus, just like, taking cold showers, doing meditation, doing like yoga, working out. Uh, to me, it's like, I do believe that like you have to leave your comfort zone. It's one of like the kind of like hard rules of life, the kind of counterintuitive, but like it's just the cost of life is like usually in order to gain something new, you have to do something that scares you. It's like a law of nature for some reason. If you're intimidated to talk to a certain person or whatever, you probably have to talk to that person to get into any new or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Whatever you don't want to do or you're afraid to do, that's probably a place where you could use work. And just leaving your comfort zone. Like if you're like, oh, I just want to stay home and watch Netflix, or I just want to stay home and lay in bed with the cat, or order food, or I just want to, I want to avoid, doing things that are hard at all, working out, going for a walk, whatever it is, calling your whatever parents. But oh yeah, it's Father's Day coming up on Sunday. Um, I think it's a U.S. Open golf tournament too at Pinehurst Number Two. So it's the ultimate dad day, U.S. Open golf and Father's Day. I wish that I had money so I could buy my parents things, but I'll probably be sunk. Apparently, my credit score has gone up. I got an email today that's like, "Wow, your credit score has really improved over the last year." It's like I cannot imagine why. There's absolutely no reason my credit score should have gone up at all. Maybe it's because I'm part of the tax paying community again or something. I don't know. What else? It's country music summer. I'm trying to think of more country music songs to play. I don't know. I kind of like playing songs at the beginning of the open mic because it's like, it's just kind of an easier way to just get everybody kind of up and rocking and create kind of a cool vibe. And it's just fun. I don't know. You get better. It's a great opportunity with reading poetry there every week. I like to just say things to the audience and sort of encourage poetry, but I don't necessarily know that it's not like rehearsing music or something where it's like, okay, these songs are like, I'm playing them on stage, I'm getting more used to playing them. It's like, you kind of get more out of it maybe. But I don't know. I guess the next big thing is New York Poetry Festival at the end of July. I'll have to figure out some fucking things to do before that somehow. Who knows? I'll be live streaming. I do want to do a series of shows, and I guess I kind of already do this, but I do want to do shows throughout the city, like walking shows. Like, I want to do a show in the Brooklyn Bridge and Coney Island and explore, do live broadcasts from different places, not just, the West Village or this bedroom. But check out my new vlog. My new vlog premieres tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Day Pages. It's got some poetry readings in it. It's more of the same. If you love my New York City walking videos, complete with poetry, there's a little more talking in it. There's a little more like speech. I'm trying to put more of that into my vlogs. I'm trying to You know, because we've been watching all these movies, David Mamet films, um, Primary Colors, Mike Nichols. Been watching a few Mike Nichols films. Primary Colors. Primary Colors was interesting. It's impressive. I mean, the way the guy uses the screen, you know, his sense of widescreen composition, I definitely think Wes Anderson probably learned a lot from. Catch 22 was pretty interesting. We didn't watch a whole lot of that, but the beginning was interesting. It's another World War II movie. I've never read the book. Um, yeah. So, yeah, check out my vlogs. There's a little more. Yeah, so I'm trying to, like, script, do a little more fun dialogue, you know, on the fly as part of the episode. Make it a part of the mise en scène. Without breaking the. Well, we do break the fourth wall, but we're not, like, obnoxious about it. There's no narration. There's not a bunch of fucking jingle music like everything now. Everything's got, like, some kind of jingle in the background. Apparently, you can have a long movie without it being slow TV. You can do scenes from a marriage as long and fast. My vlogs, I would say, are long and medium, maybe. They're not as slow as they once were. But we vlog the hell out of it, you know. The vlog will be there long after we are. When they find the Google servers on Titanic Earth, the vlog will be there. And they'll be like, who was this guy? Who are these people? Relics of the 20th century. Trying to be human beings in an increasingly unfriendly cyber dystopia. Robot, AI, droid, police state, surveillance culture. At least we've made our surveillance artistic. Is that the CIA? The CIA's got to be doing that. Google. Yeah, give everybody phones and have them film themselves. Tell them they're influencers. And then we can just, like, give them, you know, money we see fit. Whatever. Apparently, YouTube's profit sharing, I think, is good compared to other platforms. YouTube is actually, like, a pretty good. Not that I make any money, but that's what I hear. If I ever were to be able to get monetized somehow, I don't know. I'm hoping, like, at a certain point, there will be a tipping point. I think there will be a tipping point, okay? I think at a certain point, you know, maybe when I get 10 or 11 viewers, it'll be like a tipping point, and all of a sudden I'll just have, like, thousands of people watching. It'll just, like, the dam will break. And people will be like, whoa, who's this fucking peaceful, not trollish? I don't know. It's just like our culture is, like, idealizing just these devilish characteristics. Troll, you know, trolling people, insulting people, roasting people, admiring billionaire class, having the billionaires every fucking headline every day. Elon wants its $56 billion pay package. We think the shareholders are going to approve it. Well, that just shows they're stupid as hell. They own Teslas. They're dumb as fuck. Let them lose all their money. You know, I don't give a fuck. Let all the rich people lose their money. I wish the stock market would tank. What difference would it make to us? Fucking let them lose all their money. Let Bernie Madoff rob them all blind. What do I care? It's not going to improve my life. Well, maybe that would improve my life. Yeah, so I don't know. Is YouTube censoring my videos, man? 21st century, they just censor you in advance. Before anybody sees it, they just make sure it doesn't go into the flow.
It gets no impressions. You know, it's not going on any recommended. It's not going on any For You page, okay? You'll never be on the For You page, okay? So I don't know. It's election year. Do people even care? I mean, a lot of people care about poetry. I did see a video about there's never been a better time to be a professional poet, which may be true. But the video was about how publishers will publish you if you have a proven audience online, basically. That's what she meant by that. Is like if you have thousands of followers online, they'll publish your book and they'll give you a book tour or blah blah blah. So in that sense, if you're an influencer, meaning if you're just a hot chick, influencer, aka hot chick, well, they said there's a big audience because young women read poetry. You know, it's like all these celebrities are starting book clubs. Kaya Gerber got a fucking book club. Doesn't Reese Witherspoon like made a shitload of money on her book club? Women be reading. It's part of their white feminist guilt. Feeling bad about themselves. It's, you know, that's their kink. Being told that they're racist. Having to repent for their colonialist past. That's their favorite self-flagellation S&M ritual. But yeah, so there's, believe it or not, there's never been a better time to be a professional poet, guys. Can you believe that? I mean, I do believe it. I mean, if you're an MFA superstar influencer in the New Yorker and Poetry Magazine, you're winning the Ruth Lilly Prize or whatever the fuck it is. You know, you're on tenure track. You're on your book tour. You're in Europe. You're reading at Shakespeare and Company in Paris. You know, it's pretty cool. You're in Rookie Magazine. You're friends with Tavi. You know, it's never been a better time to be a professional poet. It's never been a better time to be Amber Tamblyn. I mean, who is a Rupi? Are they talking about Rupi Kaur or are they talking about. Who are they talking about? Are they talking about Fatima Ashgar or are they talking about, you know. Uh, I unfollowed all those people. Not them, all the other people. Who's that woman? Gabriel Bates or whatever. Is that who they're talking about? Who are they talking about? Who's having the best time ever as a professional poet? Well, I think they're saying it. They said it was easier to sell a poetry book than a short story collection. Now, if you're a writer starting out, it's easier to get your poetry book published than a short story collection, which is kind of a surprise. You know, I did not go into poetry for that reason. Believe it or not. I mean, I started doing poetry in college just because I loved it and it became my life, you know, my sort of guide through life and my study and whatnot and my studio and my, you know, my way of, I don't know, processing and appreciating and just becoming aware of what's happening, I guess, by articulating it, by vocalizing it, sharing it, shaping it, you know, thinking about it a lot, you know, revisiting it, relishing it, getting the most out of experience and imagination and life, you know, not just living in some deadening, repetitive labor thing or you know, corporate or whatever. Um, but I think with Gen Z, maybe well, millennials, I would say were bookish in a weird way, particularly women. I think once again, it's because of the bolstering of in the kind of balancing of the labor marketplace. Now there's a whole class of women who are young, well educated. I mean, women are better educated than men. They go to college more often. They work in these kind of professional jobs, and so like these big cities, it's like there's a market of women who are going to read, who are smart, who who are analyzing, and they're on Twitter. Twitter is very like literary. It's a way for writers to kind of meet, and it's like a big smoking lounge of just like all the writers in this fucking English language, in the American language. I certainly was never cool or popular really on Twitter. Um, but it's definitely a way that you can, with social media, actually, I think probably has played a big part of it. Poetry is just kind of perfect for the smartphone and for the way the internet is right now. For tweets, I mean, Twitter is like a poetry form, basically. It's 140 characters. It's like a haiku, or it was forever. And Instagram is like a little poem. It's like sharing, your little moment of illumination with a caption. And you know, you could share poetry on the internet. You can send it to people, and I think it is like a lie that, and it's been an oversight that mass media did not really understand how to market poetry and make money off of it. This People like poetry. If anything, it's an op that poetry wasn't popular because I don't know. I mean, I think Gen Z or whatever, the people that I see that are like young, cool Brooklyn people or whatever, hot people reading poetry, it's like they probably picked it up online, but there's tons of like edgy, cool, iconic kind of young poets who do readings and are on the scene and read at KGB and here and there, fucking Shy Watson, or Ashley. If I don't say Ashley's name, she's gonna be mad. Or Dasha, they want to be poets. All those Dime Square people kind of want to be poets. But, Amelia Gorman was, that was kind of like a. I think they do teach poetry in schools, actually. I mean, my school had a pretty good poetry because it's cheap, and so I think it's, the internet, we've got these little kind of telegram machines in our pocket sending poems and kind of texting. Texting is like poetry. It's about the size of a poem. It's your own language, and it's like Frank O'Hara said, like rather than make a poem, make a phone call. Texting is the logical progression of that. Rather than write a poem, I'll just text my friend. Then I'm writing them a poem in a way, you know. I'm texting them. We're communicating through writing in kind of this brief, you know, and so the epiphanies just go on forever. Yeah, and so I don't know. I think that it's Instagram poetry, right? Poetry's good on Instagram. The sort of greeting card brevity of it. And but I also just think that it's something that was popular the whole time. It just I don't know. I mean, it's also something that I think people were embarrassed about. Maybe poetry had this kind of like connotation that it's like pretentious or boring, or it's also obviously kind of like homophobic in a certain way because poetry kind of has this delicacy, or there's a lot of queerness to poetry, or you know vulnerability, particularly with men. They might be they might have been more uh, afraid to like poetry back in the day, whereas now the culture kind of celebrates those qualities and is exploring those qualities, and so I think that's great. If Gen Z thinks it's like cool to be a poet, or I think that's one reason why these open mics are so popular and all these people are coming to Brooklyn and New York to be poets and stuff, because it is like a viable thing. You've seen, sure, some people kind of have cultural status. Rupi Kaur's on the Tonight Show. That filters out through the culture, and that's good. I think poetry is a a good alternative going forward. Poetry should occupy these poetry readings. These should